Every city you burn, I'm gonna build one high.
In a stunning development for the balance of power in New Eden, Pandemic Horde has announced its departure from the long-standing PanFam coalition and the abandonment of its long-time home in the 8 regions of Nullsec inhabited by rogue drones, otherwise known as the Drone Lands. The declaration, made on the 5th of November by Horde leader Gobbins, signaled a deliberate move away from coalition-scale warfare in the wake of this year's mutual resetting of standings by some of the larger Nullsec groups, dubbed the Great Reset. Immediately following the announcement, Gobbins confirmed he would step down as leader once the relocation effort is complete. Pandemic Horde also revealed a newly formed strategic partnership with the Initiative, who committed support for Horde's move to their new staging grounds. The shock of the coalition's dissolution sent waves of uncertainty across PanFam space. That uncertainty was short-lived. Within hours, the Imperium, already positioned on PanFam's border in SeaTac J6, launched an aggressive assault on Pandemic Horde's capital system of RTAC AG7W. Caught unprepared, Pandemic Horde's planned evacuation stalled. The Imperium established a full interdiction grid, deploying hundreds of mobile warp disruptors, interdictor probes, and heavy interdictor fields to trap Horde forces inside the system. Every attempted large-scale breakout by Horde and PanFam was dismantled by the Imperium. Some PanFam pilots were able to escape, but those were mostly individuals or small groups that found gaps in the camp. Seeking an exit route, Pandemic Horde attempted extraction toward a keepstar anchoring in the system of 6NJ8 TAC-V. Winter Coalition forces, led primarily by Fraternity, destroyed the structure before Horde could utilize it. A fleet from the Initiative moved to assist Horde during the entrapment, but was countered by Winter Co forces and repelled before reaching RTAC AG7W. As the Imperium maintained a continuous 5-day camp of the RTAC AG7W Keepstar, panic spread through the drone regions. Corporations and alliances initiated desperate evacuation attempts, with some negotiating arrangements with the Imperium in exchange for infrastructure access to ease their escape. With no remaining options, the RTAC AG7W Keepstar was destroyed. Many Horde members, unable to escape the interdiction, resigned themselves to waking anew clones as their assets entered asset safety. The pressure proved catastrophic for Horde's internal cohesion. In under a week, the Alliance lost nearly 27,000 of its 50,000 members as corporations departed en masse. Some integrated into Winterco, the Initiative, and the Imperium, while others fled to Lowsec, with Deepwater hooligans receiving a significant influx. Those who remain in Pandemic Horde have begun regrouping in the Cloud Ring system of F7 SeaTac H0. Gobbins announced his successor, Johnny Trousersnake, who will oversee the rebuilding of the drastically changed alliance. The Initiative has extended Blue standing to Horde as they establish themselves in the new territory. With PanFam's infrastructure now abandoned, the Imperium has commenced widespread demolition operations across the drone regions. Declaring the vast territory open space for unaligned groups, the Imperium has even established Freeport Keepstars throughout the region. Several groups have already moved into the area, with more seemingly on the way. The resulting destruction, including Keepstars, Sotios, and other upwell structures, is on track to become one of the largest systematic eradications of citadels in New Eden's history. The geopolitical repercussions of PanFam's collapse are still unfolding. The Imperium, energized and emboldened by the campaign's success, shows no sign of slowing its expansion. Winterco, for its part, has reaffirmed its state of war with the Initiative, with hostilities escalating across multiple fronts. As New Eden enters a period of rapid realignment, the long-term consequences of pandemic horde's collapse and the dissolution of PanFam remain unknown. This is Alaconda reporting for The Scope.
Remember the 5th of November, the pandemic, treason, and rout. I see no reason that the pandemic treason was ever really about. All right. Welcome, guys. It is November 28th, YC127, in the real meat space. That makes today Black Friday, which is, the day after the American holiday of Thanksgiving. So it is the day in which everybody tries to take your money. So I guess I'll start with, give me your money. No, I'm just kidding. But if you do want to support the channel, you can always go ahead and pick up some merch. There are some links down below, including this mug and the software developer not equal tech support mug, etc., etc. We are today at the Alliance Tournament monument. It could very well be because I'm trying to stay a little bit safer today with my new Odysseus. By the way, guys, I did figure out what happened last time. If you are a member, if you have paid at least $1 to become a member on this channel, you can go and see. I have edited out the 11 minutes or so around what happened to the previous one that you can check out. I do plan on editing that and like making a little highlight of it because by all means, we all deserve to see how sad I am. Although now we do have a new webcam. We have a new webcam. So now if it happens again, oh my God, please don't happen again. You will see the pain in my eyes live. It'll be great for everybody. But in the meantime, we are in Monarch just to show it off. Yeah, the new webcam is really great. I appreciate it. It was an experience. So since we are in Monarch, I do want to point out that there is a 12% shield and armor hit point bonus on the Odysseus in this system. And I want to head over to Uli, since we're basically right there, right? Isn't it? Yeah, 2 jumps away. We'll see what that landmark looks like. I do have, actually, up here. Let's see. Can I? Oh, I do have Zoria with me today. She's doing pretty good. She's tired, though. She had a very eventful Thanksgiving. Did anybody have a good Thanksgiving? If you celebrate it? And, all right, let's go ahead and jump into I mean, I know, I always feel a little bit odd about like covering the sales or whatever in for Eve, but I feel like it's an important thing to do because people, different sales are different quality, so it's worth looking at them in order to figure out. And today's sale is obviously Black Friday sale, so it's one of the bigger sales of the year. And so we can look at that. Yes, the title is a bit of a clickbait, but it isn't untrue. What? What did you realize about my ship? Besides the fact that I've got a really baller skin for it. Wait, what? Why didn't that work? Hold on. Yes, here we go. It is an Ithaca of Odyssey. Okay. I'm going to have to figure out what the hell that means later. All right, so I guess we'll start with the scope video that we were just looking at. Oh, hold on. Hold on. So you're telling me Monarch has a special effect, but Uli does not? I'm sorry. What? You bought all of the new skins already? They're all peak. They're probably gonna be pretty valuable too, especially this one. We'll talk about that in just a second. An Ithaca of Odyssey is a group of Odysseus. Good thing a group of Odysseus isn't really all that great. One Eden is your favorite? This has been my favorite because, okay, so I got this one in particular because I remember when this skin came out back in like 2019 or whatever, and I just, like, I let it slip by me without picking them up, and they've become by far the most valuable skin set since then. So I've always wanted this skin for things like the Paladin and stuff, and there was recently the thing where they put it in with the sales for like the Stratios, and I was tempted to get it for the Stratios, but then this came out, and I was just like, oh yeah, this is the correct answer. It also changes the color of the ball and such, and as we were looking at last time, it does make the ball the pod thing down there gold, which is kind of cool. So I realized afterwards the reason why my ship blew up, by the way, the reason why all that happened was because I hadn't gotten my logos yet for it. So now we've got the logos. I'm now rocking my emblems, so that's good. This is the Uli monument that apparently doesn't count enough to CCP for the Odysseus to have an effect here. That's crazy. There's so many good effects that you could put in Uli. So if confirmed, Ithaca Hawk probably designed the Odysseus. Now you've gone like 3 steps past anything that makes sense, but that's fine. Okay. So the scope, we did talk a little bit about this before. This scope video is actually a pretty decent breakdown of what happened. My only criticisms for it was... where was it? Hold on, let me listen to this real quick.
Stars, Sotios, and other upworld structures is on track to become one of the largest systematic eradications of citadels.
Yeah, so, okay. This is my pet peeve. I have 2 basic pet peeves. I was actually just talking in Rookie Chat yesterday about one of them. So I have 2 naming, nomenclature-based, or terminology-based pet peeves when it comes to EVE Online. My biggest one is jump versus warp. So just so you know, you warp within a system and you jump between systems. Now, there are some special terms, like for instance, activating an acceleration gate can be called activating or sliding. And obviously, like with a wormhole, when you traverse a wormhole, you are splashing through it. Not just jumping, although technically speaking, you are jumping from one system to the wormhole system by splashing through a wormhole, right? Activating a micro jump drive is booshing. Is a micro jump. That's not the same thing. It does bother me a little bit that these things are linked, but in general, the way it works is that if you are jumping, you should be moving between systems. And if you are not moving between systems, then you should be warping, more or less. And this is important. Like, this isn't just a BS thing. As an FC, those 2 things mean very different things to me. So if somebody says, oh yeah, I'm jumping to here, I'm going to be expecting them to be like either moving into system or out of system or something like that. And so there's just a momentary confusion when somebody says, oh yeah, I'm jumping through the acceleration gate or something like that. That needs to be resolved. And while 90% of the time that's fine, that moment of confusion in command is just enough to get people killed, under the wrong conditions. So I'm usually a pretty, like, so I was a scout in the military before this. And so, like, proper radio discipline was something that was always baked into me. And so while I have a ton of little nitpicks when it comes to radio comms discipline and language, my biggest one is jump versus warp for that reason. Now, my other pet peeve is the use of citadels to mean all upwell structures. The problem is that the Citadel line of upwell structures, which are the combat-oriented / corporation management of the upwell structures, right? There's 3 different mainline upwell structures. There are citadels, which are military administrative complexes. There are engineering complexes, which are manufacturing and science centers. And then there are refineries, which are reaction facilities, reprocessing facilities, and moon mining, right? There are a bunch of other flex structures and stuff, but those are the 3 mainline upwell structures. And so they'll rename them Citadel Grade 1, Citadel Grade 2, and Citadel Grade 3. Yes, exactly. So the problem is, though, it has become, because we went for almost a year or more where the only upwell structure type that existed was citadels. From that point on, it has basically been like those two people use the word citadel when they mean upwell structure. Now, obviously, I also kind of have a bit of a pet peeve: structure versus station. Stations are run by NPCs. Structures are run mostly by players. But calling them citadels is actually even more confusing, because the threat profile of a citadel is very different. The combat profile across the board is very different. Its facilities are very different. So between an engineering complex and a citadel. So if you listen to this line right here, you're going to hear they refer to upwell structures, and they even specifically call it the Sodio, and in that sentence they say upwell structures. But then immediately afterwards, they say the largest number of citadels destruction, and they kind of lump it all in together. So let's listen to it again, and you'll hear why I was annoyed at it. Maybe, hopefully.
To the area, with more seemingly on the way. The resulting destruction, including keepstars, sotios, and other upwell structures, is on track to become one of the largest systematic eradications of citadels in New Eden's history.
So, I mean, it might technically be true, right? It might be that even if you discount all of the engineering complexes and refineries, it is the largest number of citadels or whatever. Like, the statement could literally be true. But the fact that the first half of the statement specifically lists sodios, and when it lists sodios, it says upwell structures, and then in the next breath says largest number of citadels, implying that these are lumped together, a little bit annoying. But again, this is very minor nitpicking that I wouldn't necessarily have, except for this is CCP producing this. And so I kind of would like us to try to get better at how we call things. But I do appreciate the fact that I've made this feedback before, where it's like you're naming all these different things and you're not actually giving very much like information about it. I do like the fact that as they say Keepstar here at the end, it pulls up that information of Keepstar. And again, this sentence may actually just be counting these citadels, but like this sentence is very confusing based on that. I also really appreciate the fact that they had to get CCP had to say out loud the name Johnny Trouser Snake is now the Horde CEO. That's pretty funny. Overall, I think that the footage they did was pretty good, and the coverage was good. Was there anything else I wanted to say about it? I felt like there was something else besides my super nerdy 5th of November joke, which really distracted me as I was watching it this time. All right, well, in the news and brief, in the ticker, we have reports of high number of Blood Raider capital ships, blueprints being exchanged following the Crimson Harvest celebrations. That's because, obviously, the Blood Raider... So at the end of the Crimson Harvest, they added an extra, like on the last week, an extra little bit of the track, which allowed you to get a random Blood Raider BPC, which while most people got like the Ashimu or the Crew or something, some people did get Blood Raider capital ships. So big influx of capital ship blueprints, as well as the change that made it so that you can now get them with loyalty points, but that is probably a significantly smaller impact on that. Regions of Peregrine Falls, Osa, Cobalt Edge, and Ethereum Reach see large amounts of sovereignty changes. See the rest of the video for that. Fighting between Winterco and the Initiative escalates in Cloud Ring and Fade. That's going to be an interesting war to watch. Large number of capital ships seen moving across the northern and eastern sections of New Eden. It is actually, like, It is a very exciting time to pay attention to nullsec. I don't generally pay attention to nullsec, but it's going to be something to keep an eye on for the next couple of months with the amount of shakeup that the collapse of PanFam provides. Interbus reportedly working on a new campaign to encourage safe traversal of predicted metaliminal storms. This is a reference to the winter event that should be coming in about 2 weeks, week and a half or so, because it's not going to be the first week of December, probably. So it's not going to be next Tuesday, but I imagine it'll be the Tuesday after or that week. So the 9th, likely, and we'll go through probably the 6th. That's my bet for the winter event, but we'll see. I'm very concerned about the winter event because, not like in a bad way. I guess I'm curious about the winter event because the Crimson Harvest event had all of the previous stuff of previous Crimson Harvests, but they added in that holoclone stuff. They added in a whole nother site type and stuff like that. In the winter festival, we talked about this a little bit last time. There are metaliminal storms that appear throughout nullsec, and these will cause other sites or other metaliminal storms to spawn, at least historically, in all 3 areas of space. That's where the new sites are, etc. So this, I mean, like, it's predicted metaliminal storm, so this kind of hints that much of it is going to be the same. Right, new content for the mining destroyers is an important one, since the mining destroyers cannot mine ice, which is makes them strangely incompatible with a lot of the stuff from the event. But if they add in new sites or whatever, that could be interesting. Interbus always comes out with like a bunch of holiday warning for transportation. That's like, actually, in fact, oh man, hold on. There is a set of cosmetic items that drops during the event that are based on the Yule Lads, which are like the Icelandic legend of winter, which we'll cover that another day. Oh man, the search for the word clone was just probably a little bit too much, but we'll see. I remember there's Clone Jacker. That was one of the... So they made a bunch of like space Yule Lads. Oh. With notifications. Golly, hold on. Okay. Am I just wrong? Shoot. I thought one of them was Clone Jacker. Do I not have that one? Water Sucker? Well, that's going to pull up all my water. We'll see how much water I have. Yeah, water sucking okay, display. That's the word I want. Yeah, so there's Airlock Slammer, Data Sniffer, Freezer Thief, Ectoplasm Skimmer, etc., etc. So these are based on the Yule Lads. or Yule Ad. No. Yule Lad, as in the Yule Festival, the winter holiday. And okay, fine. I'll just pull up the video. We'll play the video now. I'll play it another time too, but we will play the video now. Hold on. CCP Games Yule Lads. So there's a different video that kind of came out at this same time. Hold on. Here. Yeah. So hold on. Now well, we'll just play it, and then we'll see where we go from there.
Merry Christmas! Ho, 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 ho. Ho, 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 ho.
This is Window Peeper, He just made the mistake of his life. He's one of the Icelandic equivalents of Santa Claus. They are called the Yule Lads, and there are 13 of them, all pranksters and hell-bent on causing mayhem. They were born to a troll mother, Grilla, who feasts on naughty children at Christmas time. The Yule Lads have followed the Icelandic people for centuries, carrying names that describe each lad's special brand of mischief. Sausage Swiper is known for his insatiable lust for smoked sausages. He can smell them for miles, and he is only happy when he has a mouthful. Door Slammer draws his name from the endless joy he receives by slamming doors during the night. Meat Hook uses his hook to steal meat. He has a limitless craving for meat and can occasionally be spotted in the night prowling for meat to snatch. Doorway Sniffer is a peculiar fellow. He uses his big nose to sniff and locate traditional Icelandic Christmas treats called mufflbrod, which he then gobbles. Window Peeper likes to spend his evenings peeping through people's windows to see if there's anything inside worthy to steal. On any given day, the Yule Lads would have gotten away with their mischief, but this time, they picked the wrong target. See, Santa Claus is one of the most powerful and respected men in the galaxy, and today, he got out on the wrong side of his cloning chamber.
Those motherfuckers.
However, the Yule Lads are not all about mischief, and with the passing of the centuries, their behavior has somewhat improved. In fact, they are currently better known for giving treats to well-behaved children in the 13 days leading up to Christmas.
Merry Christmas on this.
Have you been good? Do you deserve a treat? The Yule Lads have some gifts for you. The fantastic festival launcher not only fires snowballs, but now it can be loaded with fireworks as well. And that's not all. The Yule Lads will be giving you a host of other treats leading up to Christmas. So keep an eye out and try to be nice.
Yeah, so this is 12 years old, by the way, and this was actually before we had like login rewards and stuff. So this is like the original login rewards during the Christmas time. They would give us a bunch of like cosmetic items and other stuff like that. But in the modern day, they have taken this legend of the Yule Lads and they have put it to like that Interbus, now Evermore, puts out using an old Spacer Tales of clone blinks coming to life and wrecking havoc aboard ship, which is interesting given the fact that that's literally what holoclones did. Interbus has issued a series of animated safety displays warning passengers and crew alike against hazards, carelessness, and waste. Although cartoonish, the safety displays deal with serious risks to life and limb aboard a working spaceship. So, you know, there is this whole thing like Interbus gives these like warnings for travel advisory warnings and stuff during the Yule festival, which in Eve, Yule is actually the name of the ship. It has to do with the calendar year. Look, we're going to talk all about the Yule festival as we get closer to it. The point of the matter is that this note implies, or maybe like, first of all, so it suggests that we probably will get the metaliminal storms. But a new campaign makes me wonder, like, because they've now sent out those Yule doodads as like one of the main rewards, not main rewards, but as a reward for doing stuff in the event. I just wonder whether or not there's going to be some sort of new event involving this stuff, maybe a new site within the metaliminal storms or something like that. Not 100% sure, but you know that this is probably what this is attached to, and we're really like that is one of the things that we're going to be paying attention to very closely in the next couple of weeks to see what, if any, differences there are for the winter event. Yeah, but that's all I got to say about it right now. And then Warlock Industries increased broadcasts across the cluster. I keep seeing Warlock Industries. In fact, I saw in the Reddit post about this that Warlock Industries, they were like, oh yeah, the footage that they got is awful. They should totally do stuff with Warlock Industries. And I don't know if I've really seen...
Welcome back to the...
Oh, okay.
Welcome back to the next chapter in this series of Goons versus Horde. New Eden is burning on a scale we haven't seen in years, and the fire is spreading further than we thought. Goon Swarm is glassing entire regions from top to bottom, wiping out hundreds of structures and deleting tens of trillions of ISK in the process. If you're unfamiliar with the term glassing, it basically means they're blowing everything the fuck up, leaving only wreckage in their path.
Okay, I agree. CCP should definitely take notes on everything that Warlock Industries is doing. This is actually really good stuff. I'm not going to play too much of it because of, like, whatever, copyright, whatever, but, like, I'm going to post that there and definitely put it in the description. Definitely a guy worth checking out and supporting, it looks like. All right. Let's move on. Now, to the reason why you all are here, let's talk about sales. That's definitely why you're all here, right? Right? Don't go, don't go! All right. So, as I said before, I do like to cover these, like, EVE sales. Not, again, I'm not partnered. I'm not supported by CCP. I'm not given anything. I'm just a dude that makes YouTube videos. So, not a sponsor, not supported by it. I cover these sales for you guys to be able to be like, okay, well, I think that this is a good deal. I think it's not a good deal. So let's talk a little bit about this deal. First and foremost, on the surface, you know, there's still a lot of people that are mad about $20 subs and would rather it be $15 subs. Well, guess what? You can get your sub now and it'll be the old price. So if you've been complaining about it, blah, 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 you can load up on your Omega now. And in fact, those deals cascade to the higher and higher things. So if you pick up an Omega now, it's actually going to be less than $15 a month for like a year. If you pick up Omega for a year or whatever, then you are paying less than $15 a month, but you are paying basically the old price structure because everything's brought back down 25% because you get the discount on getting multiple months at the same time. But that's always been true. The 25% brings everything down. So this is closer to like getting the subs, you know, pre-2022 or whenever that change was, right? So I'd be okay with 20 per sub if it included MCT for the other two accounts. Maybe one MCT would be cool. That's probably true. I don't know. I think that $20 is... never mind. I am going to abstain from the discussion about whether or not it's a good idea or a bad idea for subs to be $20 a month because I haven't paid for a sub in years. So, in fact, I have not paid for a sub since the price change. So I am not the person. I feel like if I'm like, oh no, $20 a month is fine. Like, that seems very biased to me. So I'm not even going to argue that point at all. I'm just going to say that if you want $15 a month sub price point, right now you get that. Okay. Now, admittedly, obviously, if it was before, then you would still be on sale from there. Blah blah blah. But like, this is the best we're going to get probably. So, all right. So until the 3rd of December, they're offering a 25% off Omega time in the EVE store. And you get, here's the big thing. You also get free Plex and Skinner supply crates. So it's actually better than just getting the Omega time. And we'll look at those individually. This is the perfect way to dig deeper into the Catalyst expansion. Every bundle includes Omega time and Plex. Except for 1 million, which comes with bonus items. Sure, whatever. Sequencers, Skinner supply crates. Okay, so this shows Event Horizon Black Matte, Glacial Prospect Gloss, Suspect Saffron Gloss, Guild Omni Ombre Dust Gloss, Slipstream Crossroads, Treated Plating, Oxidative Stress, Crumbling Construct, and Convergent Reflections. And we can see them all here. So there's these 4 colors and these 5 patterns. Now, several of these patterns, including like this middle one and this bottom right one, these were part of the login program, right? So if we go in game, we'll see that like a lot of these things. Hold on, let's look at the colors. So Event Horizon Black Matte, Glacial Prospect Gloss is right there. Suspect Saffron Gloss is right there. Guild Omni Dust Gloss. Is that on here? Yes, right there. Slipstream Crossroads. That should be this one. Yep, Slipstream Crossroads. Treated Plating, which is... I think that one's not on this list. Because it's a pattern. And I don't see it. Yeah. So that one's not there. Oxidative Stress is not there. Crumbling Construct is not there. And Convergent Reflection, I think, is here. It is not here. Okay, so most of the patterns, only that one of the patterns is here. Looks like all of the colors are here. But how do I get Event Horizon Black, Matte Black Unlimited? God, that would be... Has anybody seen that yet? Or is it on the market yet? Darn it, I fell for the sale. I just bought 12-month package on 2 accounts. It's definitely worth it. What's up, Noisy? Never been on the market? Okay. Okay, so my point is, but even though several of the things that are part of this package are on the list, here's the thing that I noticed in general. So, like, even with these, too, I don't know if this is a new thing or not, because I keep seeing this now. So, for instance, this giveaway, right, this big bundle, like, some of the things that they include are all of the things that we just listed, right? But if we go into the Paragon Hub, we will see there's treated plating, there's slipstream, there's rough element, there's rich veins, there's oxidative stress. And we can also find in... Here we go. In basic nano coatings, we will find the Event Horizon Black Matte. So the new elements that were added in for Catalyst that are on they're in the login reward track. They're in, I think, all of the packs that have been on sale, including the previous one that they had released as part of this event, like the release of Catalyst. All of those things are also for sale in here. And the reason why this is important is because I don't know, there's nothing in here that indicates that this sale or the existence of these things on this listing is temporary. So usually when we talk about the value of things, especially like the skins and stuff that you get from one of these packs, we talk about the fact that this is like the limited source for these items, which is what gives them value. So it's like, okay, well, you buy it and then you store it away, because as soon as this pack is done, their price will keep going up in price, at least until next year or whatever, because there's no other way of getting it. But this implies that there is a very stable way of getting this. So the Event Horizon Black Matte will always cost about, or not always, like as long as this is here, will cost about 12 plex per use, right? And so that means that even though Event Horizon Black is a super in-demand color, it's one of the best colors in the game, its upper bound in value is only so high because people can just keep generating new ones by paying plex to CCP, okay? So keep that in mind, that this value is actually more stable than normal when it comes to like pricing these things out. So in fact, we could just sit here and look at this and be like, okay, well, getting that is the same as getting just 35 plex, but with a little bit of extra legwork because, you know, you don't get to, you lose the flexibility, obviously, but you get something that's worth 35 plex, basically, is what it boils down to. And that's assuming that you get, okay, so it has a guaranteed metallic of plumb depth and an equal chance of getting the rest of these. So, yeah, they're fine, and it's a good source for this stuff. They're seeding it out, but I would not, this isn't like a big buy and hold, invest to make your fortune later kind of thing. It's just, sure, the black mat's going to be valuable for sure. And then also, here's some looks to see, oh, here, what is it? CCP Mirage made a couple of skins just to show it off. So these are not skins that you can buy, but these are just skins that were made using the new colors and patterns. And then it says, but wait, there's more Odysseus skins on the NES. So the last time we were talking, we noticed that there's a bunch of new Odysseus skins that were added, but they weren't available anywhere. And the biggest one that we were talking about is the one I have on right now, which is the Yule Festival YC21, which is weird because it literally says basically effectively 2019 on the side. So the idea that they would re-release it is kind of bizarre. But as I said earlier, there was those packs that they gave out a couple weeks ago that had a chance, like a crate, that the lucky people would get this skin for either the Astero, the Stratios, or the Nestor. So they kind of brought this precedent of bringing back this incredibly, the most valuable, the rarest, most prestigious skin that CCP has ever sold in the history of their time doing skins. And they brought it back for those 3 ships, but it was rare enough that we noticed that the price, while the price did collapse, it collapsed from like 10 billion ISK to 2 billion ISK. And that, yeah, I hope that they bring back more skins that way. Well, that's interesting because like it's a huge shot against the bow for skin collectors, right? Already skin collectors who try to save skins to see when they're going to be valuable, they already have been like struggling because the Skinner system makes it so that less people are going for rare skins. But Skinner is also pretty expensive, so it hasn't done as much damage as maybe some people had feared. But re-releasing an old skin that people expected to never be released again, like, this is one of the skins that was the most, like, solid, they'll never release it again. It literally has the year on the side of it. So how could they ever release the Yule YC121 skin ever again? Well, they're just doing it now. So that changes our calculation for all skin collections. The fact that they're willing to do this and destroy a skin's value. Yeah, Nestor 1 Eden skin went from 100 billion ISK to, well, the 1 Eden skin wasn't one of the ones that got given away again, though. Either way, the point is that some of these are extremely rare skins on the other ships, but they've been brought now for a limited time on the Odysseus. So this is the second. This is like I just said, it's really risky to buy rare skins and hoping they go up, and yet these are probably going to be some pretty rare skins that are going to go up. So we're going to look at this. The Catalyst expansion introduces the first SOE vessel in over a decade, the Odysseus Exploration Command Ship. It is a stunning ship capable of covering long distances and bringing back a lot of loot. Its design is about to become even more striking, with several skins from previous lines now available for the Odysseus in the New Eden store, including all of these. Both offers are available until the 3rd of December. So these skins are only available until the 3rd of November. Sorry, the 3rd of December, which is not that far away. If you're watching this live, that is... Oh no, where's my calendar? Next Wednesday is the last day, or is when it ends. These are going to be pretty valuable, but also they are expensive. They're not cheap, at least. So they are all 390 plex across the board. And like I said, they look like they're going to go away. They should have a little thing that says that it's temporary, but they don't. But allegedly, these are going to all go away on the 3rd, and then who knows when or if they're ever going to be available again. 390 Plex is obviously quite a bit. It's one of the more expensive skins in the game. But remember, Plex is also kind of at an all-time low, and I got them at less. I got 390 Plex the other day for less than 5 million ISK a unit. So if these interest you, pick it up. If you're a collector, definitely the Yule Festival and the One Eden are going to be like the big ones that people end up wanting. Although let's go look at them a little bit. Okay, so we can see the gold part here. I just wanted to double check that those effects are working in this browser or in this viewer. They did not put in the Arcambine Arisen skin, though, which is interesting. Arcambine Arisen is usually associated with Vanguard, so they're holding this one in reserve still. But we have Crystal Blast, which is, you know, not as high of a tier as some of the other ones, but it does look really good. They didn't come out with the Deathglow or the Friendship League one, which the Friendship League one was one that people had their sights on. So this is still not one of the ones that are in there. One Eden, somebody was saying, who was it? There should be a Cyber Monday sale on the Nest, shouldn't there be? I would not be surprised. Somebody was saying that they're into new One Eden, but it's a very clean looking ship, although skin. Although I would argue that this is the kind of thing that can be made in Skinner or something equivalent. You know, like for instance, I don't like. I think this is very similar to this in quality, but I prefer the colors. So if other people like it, then great. Refined Resourcer is not one of them. So this one is still up for grabs. The Sanctuary skin line is like the oldest of the SOE skin lines. It's very there's some stories behind it, but they're not actually that important. It is based on the Sanctuary, which is the more experimental arm of the Sisters of Eve. There's actually, so when the Stratios first came out, they also came out with a special version of the Stratios that was colored this way. And there's a whole hubbub about it, but then they also released the skin that lets everybody's Stratios potentially look that way. And it was like the most consistently, because it was in the Nest store, like the one that everybody could get. But either way, so that one's good. And then there's the Blue Cell, Fire Cell, and Gold Cell line of SOE ships that are represented here. Each of these are 390 million, or 390 Plex as well. So I don't personally understand why somebody would buy, like, for instance, this one, and not this one, but maybe I like gold too much. I don't know. And then also the Spectral Shift one is available, which is another good one, shiny blue. The Yule Star, which is the ugly Christmas sweater, is also not on sale now. So I would see this as something I'm going to predict. We talked about this before. Last year, I think the ugly Christmas sweaters weren't available. This, to me, indicates that they'll probably bring them back. Dan, the sales are really driving down the price of Plex. I see the market was up to 280 orders for 243 Plex this morning. Average price yesterday is 4.9 million ISK each. Yep. It's not just the sales, though. Like, you can see from the market history that their change to make it so that you can sell and buy Plex everywhere has really, like, that has been a clear force wiping out, 20% of the value of Plex just by that. The sales and stuff helps for sure, but like the trend down from that change is noticeable. There are plenty of other exclusive skins like Meat Grinder All-Stars. Well, Meat Grinder and All-Star skins are both from the the EVE Invasion World Tour in 2019. Yeah, I use the Plex market to practice my programming skills. You would. Noisy Gamer, by the way, Noisy Gamer, if you, hold on, can I do this? Hold on. Is this going to work? I don't know if this works. Does not look like it works. Can I, like, administratively? No. If you DM me any links to your work, I will. Oh, never mind. Try it. You. So Noisy Gamer, you can post a link to your blog or wherever you want to, you know, point people to. Noisy Gamer is a incredibly informed EVE analysis dude who covers a lot of the, like, the finances of the actual company and, you know, paying attention to that kind of stuff. Noisy Gamer was EVE Oz before Oz was Oz, I would say. Hold on. All right. So, that said, let's go ahead and carry on with the... I'm writing about the sale now. Hell yeah. Well, hopefully my analysis gives you some sort of something to chew on, maybe. So if we look at the actual New Eden store, we'll see that, so 1 month of Omega, $15. Plus you get 100,000 skill points and the other extra doodads that are like whatever. They're good candy. 3 month of Omega, $36, $12 a month. 6 month of Omega, $63, so like less than $11 a month. 12 months of Omega, less than $10 a month. 24 months of Omega for $200. You know, I often am telling people, like, why would you buy $500 Plex packs? Unironically, if you like this game, buying this now and just having it be set for the next year or two, like, what's nice about this is that if you buy 12 months of Omega, then you can just wait till the next best sale to grab whatever else you want. And then congratulations, you managed to get 15 or less dollars per month on your Omega. Good job. And it comes with, but here's the thing though, the bonus items includes, so the 6 month Omega, for example, $63. So again, a little bit more than $10 a month, plus 500 Plex. So this is actually not 6 months of Omega. It's technically 7 months of Omega, because 500 Plex is 1 month of Omega. That you can, one of those months can be spent on other things. So it's even better of a deal. So this is, I think, people can, I would be happy to have people disagree with me or whatever, but like, I think that this is very easily the best just raw deal that we have gotten all year. Obviously there isn't like the rare skins and stuff like that they sometimes put in, but there is the rare skinner supply crate, although we did point out, like, basically all of the stuff that is in this supply crate are all stuff that can be just bought or acquired in other ways. So they're not going to be nearly the big winner of why you would want to get it now versus something else. Yeah, Noisy Gamer agrees with me. Like, just raw numbers when it comes to Omega and Plex, this is the best deal all year. And then there is this extra stuff added to it. And that's just the bottom line of it. So this deal is until the 3rd. And that's about it. I think it is close. I think the cheapest you could get is 2 years of sub with $7.99 a month. This deal matches it. Yeah. Well, even if there was a better deal before, like in the year, it might have been like, well, technically, if you bought the Plex via this sale and then sold it on this blah, 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 then you could get a better deal by double dipping on the sales. But, you know, CCP did come out with that blog that basically says that they're going to try to prevent that from being a big, you know, thing that people can do anymore. So I wouldn't rely on that. But this is just a good deal overall. All right. But we don't necessarily want to. That's about it for that. All right. But I do want to talk a little bit about the Odysseus, since we're talking about these skins. Call this a hot take. I kind of want to make this into a segment. So let me write something down real quick. Oh, it's exactly 1 hour. Awesome. 1 hour, 1 minute. So 50% off Omega and MCT has got to be be in the running for best deal. Possibly, but well, 50% off Omega is great. Well, no. I actually think that kind of deal could come back, because the thing about MCT is that as long as it's not a certificate, they're pretty open to like throwing in their MCT for value, multiple character training, because you can't actually transfer it to anybody else. 2-for-1 MCT has gone for good. Are you sure? Didn't they just do one? I could have sworn that they just did. Wait, actually, aren't they still doing one? Hold on. Where is it? Starter pack. Are these the ones I'm thinking about? No. There was one we were just looking at because they keep giving us twice as much MCT than we need. Right. Okay. Yeah. They've started giving you like twice as many MCTs as you actually need. It was in the Omega deal. Got it. Yeah. But not this Omega deal, the previous one. Got it. Yeah, it used to be that like every 3 months, they would put out a thing that would effectively allow you to buy 3 months of Omega with 3 months of MCT. And so like every 3 months, you could just roll that. But yeah, I think they've definitely stopped doing that as much. Yeah. Anywho. So, I do, though, want to talk a little bit about the design of the Odysseus, because I love this ship so much, which is why it pains me to say there's a blog, or there's a Reddit post the other day that said like the Odysseus is everything wrong with Eve's design in the modern day, and I didn't agree with that post, the actual points within the post. But it's really gotten me to be chewing on this idea and like talking with Malak and stuff about what kind of ship it is and thinking about the future. It makes me realize that like CCP has actually designed themselves into a pretty nasty corner here. And so I want to give my criticism of the design of the Odysseus, probably something that isn't necessarily what you've been thinking about, and a recommendation to CCP. So before I begin, I'm going to talk about a thing called game accretion, like feature accretion, right? This is a very common problem in especially MMOs, but really any game that's also a live support service that goes on long enough. The problem is that balancing things is hard, right? Especially as you continually introduce new things. You know, you have all kinds of problems with like power creep, et cetera, et cetera. And so a lot of times what game developers will do is that they will create some sort of artificial barrier between an older system and a newer version of that older system that doesn't get rid of the older system, but renders it obsolete, right? The biggest example of this is things like in World of Warcraft, right? Every tier of content in World of Warcraft, the way that they make sure that the new stuff is relevant over the old stuff is that they increase the power of everything, but then they release a new currency that you now have to earn to get the new stuff. So you could still go get the old currency, in theory. But you need to get the new currency to get the new stuff. So the old currency, doesn't matter how much you have, it's now not worth anything anymore. The new stuff is the only thing that's worthwhile. And that's kind of their way of dealing with out with the old, in with the new, right? In games. Now, obviously, some of these things do other examples. Like a lot of these sorts of MMOs also have currency crush, where basically there's actually only two currencies. There's the current currency and the old currency. and every single time they move it up, they introduce a new currency and then just make whatever was the big currency into the old currency and get rid of everything else before that. But like the idea of feature accretion is when you continually add new exceptions, new rules, new things, you know, instead of fixing or working within the constraints of design that you already have, you just keep tacking on new things, and these can cause new problems with the design. And the thing is that EVE Online, this is actually one of the things I've really, really, really respected about EVE Online, because it doesn't really have this problem in the same way that a lot of other MMOs do. You know, if you add a battleship that you built 10 years ago, it's still good, right? It may or may not be the meta or blah, blah, blah. Build cost might have changed. But like, if you had an Armageddon before, it's still an Armageddon, and it's still relevant in a way that Armageddons are. And so like, they don't actually, when EVE expands their game, they don't replace older features with newer versions of the older features or anything like that, causing accretion, except for structures, right? Structures are the biggest example of feature accretion in EVE Online. You know, they've avoided having a million different kinds of currency, although LP kind of messes with that a little bit, but not really. But like, obviously structures and upwell structures are like, they basically were a feature accretion against POSes. POSes still exist. You can still use them. But now you've got upwell structures, which are effectively the same design space as POSes, and they probably would prefer you use the upwell structures. But they don't get rid of the POSes because of history and reasons. So how does this have to do with the Odysseus? The problem is that this is kind of a design scope creep and feature accretion that is, I think, bad for the game, right? The game is incredibly complex, but the good news is that this actually has a really, really simple solution, and it's only a small thing that's actually wrong with it, which is that this ship right here is considered a faction battlecruiser. If I look at this, I see, and we had Satoni on, or he was here the other day, and he confirmed this, right? So this ship is considered an expedition command ship, but if we see it, hold on. If we look up the Odysseus, we see it's a faction ship. It's not a T2 ship. And one of the reasons why this is, I believe the reason why CCP did this is because T2 ships have a rule, which is that in all T2 ships, it requires the racial ship skill to 5 in order to fly it, right? So if you want to fly the Pilgrim, you need to have a Mar cruiser to 5. If you want to fly the Lachesis, you have to have Galente cruiser to 5, as well as the actual T2 skill, which would be Recon in that case. This has the extra skill, Expedition Command Ship, but if we look at skill requirements, it only requires Battlecruiser 2 for Amar and Galente. And so, I believe CCP would argue that it breaks the rule of T2, where all T2 requires you to have level 5 command skill or level 5 ship piloting skills in order to fly it. I think that this decision was wrong for 2 reasons. So let's talk about the problem with this first, which is, so for instance, there's a winter event coming up soon, but there's events, right? There's a lot of different events, and one of the ways that they create the scenarios for the events is through ship restrictions, right? So for example, one of the things that you'll see, especially in like destroyer, if something, a lot of times you'll see things like cruiser and below or destroyer and below, and it explicitly doesn't allow Tech 2 destroyers. And the reason why is because a site is balanced very differently depending on whether or not a person can bring boosts, right? Like most of the home fronts, for example, are explicitly denying any ship that can bring bursts. So no battle cruisers, no T2 battle cruisers, no destroyers, no command destroyers, because those are the 3 ship types that can bring command bursts in subcapital. So this isn't necessarily that bad, because obviously if you're allowing in T1 battle cruisers, you are technically allowing in bursts, because T1 battle cruisers can bring bursts, but they don't bring bonused bursts. So I could definitely see a world in which CCP is going to want to say you can bring in Tech 1 battle cruisers. So that way people can't bring in command ships, because command ships are redonkulously strong compared to T1, a T1 battle cruiser, both in its raw power and in its burst power. So the issue is that if in this hypothetical scenario, they want to have only Tech 1 battle cruisers, does this battle cruiser count? And the answer is we have no idea. We're going to have to see what their choice is with that. Now, you could say, okay, well, only standard Tech 1 battle cruisers, okay? But then that gets rid of the Kizrael and the Alligator, the pirate battle cruisers, which you may want to do. But if you're worried about just the bursting side of things, like this is effectively skill-wise a Tech 2 ship. Well, to be frank, the Gator is more tanky DPS than the Odyssey. That's fine. But remember, we're living in a world in which it's like, this is now the command ship for another group, right? So the fact that it brings plus 5% armor. Really? Hold on. We'll just go with the damnation. Okay, that's per level. Okay, yeah. So it's not as strong as proper command ships. It is, right, okay, so selfish command ships are 4%, unselfish command ships are 3%. This thing is 1% per skill level. So it's not as good as real command ships, although it does bring expedition command bursts. So like now, if anything needs to require expedition command bursts, you could theoretically still put expedition command bursts on a battlecruiser. My point is that in the same way of like the Orca, right? The Orca is kind of a capital, kind of a not. We always argue about whether or not Orca is a capital. And what this has resulted in is now in a lot of places, CCP has to be like, you can have this, you can't have this, you know, you can't have capitals or the Orca, or you'll be, or, you know, whatever. Like they have to specifically call out the Orca as special because it's such a weirdly placed ship, right? What the Orca is and isn't allowed into, it's kind of its own anomaly because of that. And this ship risks becoming just another example of this. So this is a small thing. This is a relatively small thing. But how many design questions are going to have to be answered? Like in the future, is it going to be like, oh yeah, all T1 battle cruisers except the Odysseus, right? Is this not its own new ship class? I agree it's weird, but it's more like a Porp battlecruiser hybrid if Porp was Explo focused. Yes. But it also, like, the question is, as a new ship class, why isn't that new ship class a T2 ship class? Do you see what I'm saying? So the idea is that now they are going to have to, this is a rules simplicity issue. Every single time you have to bring in little exceptions here and there. Oh yeah, you have to bring in every T1, you can bring in all T1 battlecruisers except the Odysseus. You can bring in all this except for this, right? Like as soon as you start putting in more and more exceptions, either way, well, I'm not even worried about the cost thing here because, like, whatever, people can decide to bring it or not. I'm talking about, like, CCP design trying to figure out what they do and don't want to allow in. This creates this weird niche that they may have to individually account for, which means that it's harder to teach it, it's harder to learn it, it's harder to understand it. Noisy, stop spoiling my shit. So here's my argument, okay? Their argument is this is a pirate ship and therefore doesn't. No problem, Noisy. This is a pirate ship, and therefore it doesn't require level 5 training. Therefore, it cannot be a T2 ship. I have a new rule to propose, which is that this is a Tech 2 ship, and that Tech 2 pirate faction ships can exist. And basically, because pirate faction, any ship that is Tech 2 that has multiple racials does not require 5. The only time it requires 5 is if it only has one racial ship command skill, or, you know, whatever, on top of the T2 skill, right? So, for example, I'm going to just pretend like Noisy didn't say that. If we go to the ship tree, we can see, like, for instance, if we go to any of the races, we can go over here to battleships and see the blops, okay? Black Ops battleship requires Galente battleship. That's the Dominic's Navy issue. I almost had a moment. I was about to freak out. All right. Did you see like the circuit in my brain like short out as soon as I saw? Okay. Either way, this is the Sin. It's a Black Ops battleship, and it requires Galente battleship 5, right? In the same way, like the other ones will all require their battleship to 5. But if we go to, is it even here? Yes. We go to Concord, we can see that this is a Black Ops battleship. It's a T2 ship. It shows that it's a T2 ship. And it requires Galente battleship 1, Caldari battleship 1, Mimitar battleship 1, and Amar battleship 1. So they actually already have a precedent that if a T2 ship has multiple racials that go into it, they do not need to be 5. Which means, I would argue, the simplest solution is to just make this into a T2 ship. Then it's a T2 command ship. You don't even need to give it the T2 resist profile, because there's plenty of examples of T2 ships with strange resist profiles because of it. You could give it a T2 resist profile if you wanted to, but you don't have to. Let's just set the precedent that pirate faction ships can also be T2, and if they are, they don't necessarily need to have level 5s. Can an alphafy the Odysseus? Yes. Well, no. Wait, yes? No. 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 No, because you can't have Expedition 5. Just make this into a T2. Make this the new policy. I think that makes perfect sense. And what's even exciting about this is that it opens up, like, it answers that question of what does a pirate T2 ship look like? You know, this is a question that has been, like, the Marshal and them opened up this question. But, like, this is actually a really exciting question, right? Like, what is a T2? I want, like, could the Angels come out with, could we get a mecha ball that's actually an interdiction destroyer? What about the AT-T2 ships? Yeah. Pirate Marauders, why not? The Chameleon is considered a T2 ship. It does require Galente and Caldari Cruiser to 5. So yes, the AT-T2 ships have required in the past level 5. So, but my point is that we could easily decide that it doesn't have to, that these do, but it's not necessary, right? We could just accept the fact that T2 ships can exist that are pirate, and they don't require level 5 in order to do it. They require some amount of both of the racials, and just call it a day and let that be the precedent. I think that is so much simpler from like a design accretion like point of view than there is now. Like, it was already bad enough. Like, are the trig ships T1, T2, or faction? Right? Are trig ships faction? No. These are T1 ships, and yet all the time we have to create, like, okay, well, standard Empire T1 ships. You can't even say standard T1 ships. Because these are standard T1 ships, and they've been very, very clear that they expect these to be considered standard T1 ships and not faction. There's no faction logos on any of them. So there, we have these like an increasing number of these problems where it's like, oh yeah, it's all T1 ships, but not Trigger Edencom, right? They're, oh yeah, all T1 battle cruisers, but not the Odysseus. What's the Odysseus? Oh, the Odysseus is like this weird, it should be a T2, but it's not a T2. Like, it makes explaining and understanding and processing the game so much more difficult. And if the issue was that having the exception be that T2 ships, all T2 ships have a level 5 skill requirement, here's a fun fact. There's nothing in the actual game that states that as a literal truth. And we already have an exception to that in Concord ships. So let's just call the Odysseus a Tech 2, and let's let Tech 2 pirate ships be a thing that can exist. And with that said, I expect to see my Orthrus Hick sooner rather than later. Thank you. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I suppose the question on the indie side would be, does the BPC need researching, or is it you just buy it as a BPC? But that doesn't mean anything. There's nothing, in theory, if there was a Tech 1 you could theoretically invent it, but that isn't necessary to be a component of it. It doesn't require any special Tech 2 skills or any Tech 2 materials, but even then, that could have been the other way to fix it. If it was T2 and it did take Tech 2 materials, then that would be a way to make it expensive without it taking literally more materials than the Nestor, which is a very weird thing to do. Right, so there's a couple of weird things involving the exceptions that make the Odysseus a very confusing thing that is simply unnecessary. They could have made it into a Tech 2 ship. They could have theoretically given it a Tech 2 build situation, which would have made it worth more value than just raw. It's harder to build than the Nestor. Don't all T2 ships require research BPC? Well, so inventing standard Tech 2 stuff does require the Tech 1 to be researched, or to be invented, rather. But if you can somehow get a T2 BPC otherwise, then no. For instance, again, the Marshal. You don't get the Marshal for inventing anything. You get it because you either did Project Discovery or you recruited people. So again, there's already a precedent that, yes, the traditional way to get T2 BPCs is through invention. But if something else, like an LP store, was to provide a T2 BPC, that would be that would be another way to get it. There's nothing that stops it from that being that way. Whereas with this, they've literally created whole new rules for how to understand this ship versus any other type of ship. And while this ship is really cool, I don't think it requires a whole new set of rules in order to accommodate it. You can just make it work with the old rules by just saying, like, hey, this is a weird quirk of what T2 can be now. Also, since I'm covering things that I should have talked about before, I do want to point out, just for everybody, Mike Azariah is a person. I bet you there's a reasonably decent chance that he's just in here right now doing this stuff. But so Mike Azariah is a capsuleer who he's been on the CSM multiple times. He's a very hard worker. Yeah, here we go. And he is basically every single day in Rookie Chat, not only helping people out and helping keep Rookie Chat sane, but he drives his bowhead around New Eden to all of the different newbie zones with fit ships. Shoot, I don't have the channel here, I don't think. Hold on. Let me pull it up real quick. Yeah, he also maintains channels like the Mike Skill Plans, which has the Magic 14 and other skill plans. He's got a thing that has all of his different fit ships. But he gives out fit ships to new players. So he goes to these rookie systems, and anybody who comes up to him, he just gives them a new rookie ship. Or, sorry, like a frigate or something, whatever their race is. These ships are well fit. They're community like supported fitting. They're generally decent. He has PvE ships and PvP ships. He wants to help people learn. how to fit good ships by giving people good fit ships. This was actually before even community fittings existed. So this guy, super good dude. And once a year, he does a fundraiser in November. Only once a year does he... Oh, yeah, he also does weather and news reports. This dude is a pillar of the community, okay? But obviously giving away free ships all the time can be expensive. And so once a year, he is willing to go around and actually ask people to donate money to his operation. And so in November, he does these things. And he did ask me at the beginning of November, he's like, hey, just a reminder. He does look a little bit like Sam Elliott in real life. It is actually, I'm glad that you said that. It has always been eerie to me how much that is true. But I digress. The point is that, you know, times are tough right now in the real world. So, you know, like, obviously, if you have money to spare in the real world, go ahead and, you know, feel free to buy a membership or become a patron. But if you want to do something really charitable this holiday season, and you've got more ISK than cash, and so you want to do your good deeds in ISK, then what I strongly recommend you do is donate to Mike Azariah's Magic School Bus Fund. And it's really easy to do that. You just find Mike Azariah anywhere, link it, and just right-click, give money. How much money do I want to give him based on what my wallet is right now? And then just type in some amount, you know, whatever. Who couldn't toss $1 billion in? I don't have $1 billion right now on this character, so I'm just going to do 300 million and be like, school bus funds, right? And that's it. And you know what? If you don't have ISK, if you've got ships, I'm pretty sure he can correct me if I'm wrong or whatever. Historically, he's allowed, you can just contract him ships from basically anywhere. Hold on a second. Let me see if he's online right now. So if you're in high sec and you happen to have like a whole bunch of frigates that you built because minerals you mine yourself for free, and now you don't necessarily want to sell them, just go ahead and contract them to Mike Azariah, and he'll take them. Ships in weirdest places. Like I said, I don't know necessarily if I want to volunteer him for that right now, but he has historically accepted contracts from basically anywhere and then goes and picks them up. So, you know, good times. But it is worth noting, like I said, if you just happen to have a giant pile of T1 frigates or destroyers, the hulls, consider donating them to Mike Azariah. He will actually do something good with them. So, amazing pilot, pillar of the community. Please consider donating to Mike Azariah's School Bus Fund. I have recommended quitting players to donate to him when they ask. I think I should do that too. I often don't forget, like, you know, obviously the correct answer is, you know, can I have your stuff? But I guess, can you donate your stuff to Mike Azariah? Doesn't quite roll off the tongue the same way. But yeah. Galente election when? I don't know. You tell me. One of the things I was going to potentially talk about today was the election. I was thinking about doing that next, like over the weekend, potentially. What channel is that in game that I'm in right now? This is Rookie Chat. But Mike also has Mike's skill plans. Yeah, when Agar died, oh wait, she has a clone. Yeah. So Mike's skill plans is one of those really awesome channels that I was talking about. So the Magic 14, which we've talked about before, you know, just since I haven't mentioned it so far today, one thing I do recommend for all players, new, old, etc., is use the buddy code. For instance, I will link it in. If you use a buddy code, even on an existent account, you get 1 million free skill points that goes into your redemption window. So you can see here, unclaimed items to redeem. you can see that I still have my million free skill points that I've never redeemed. There's no expiration date. It can sit in here. And this is really, really important because while it's sitting here in redemption window, it's not on any given character. This is very, very important because alpha clones can only passively train up to 5 million skill points, right? So, and that's total, right? That's allocated and unallocated skill points. So if you were to go here and you would redeem this into your character, you would have 1 million extra unallocated skill points. So I would then have, humble brag, a little bit over 304.5 million skill points. Right now I have 303.5 million skill points. So it would go towards this total. So if you make a brand new alpha with the buddy code, and then you redeem that the million points into here, that counts towards your 5 million total. So what you do is you make as many clones as you want, as many extra characters as you want. I saw somebody in rookie chat just this last week has been making 100 different characters, all named Pioneer, so they can go through the Or Epic arc to get a bunch of Pioneers and sell them on the market, because that's actually a really good, efficient way of using your time at the moment, oddly enough. But the point is, you make these accounts using a buddy code, which gives you that million free unallocated skill points, and you leave it in your redemption window. You then come to here with these Magic 14 skill plans, and you add these skill plans into your skill queue. You then put the character away for about 7 months, 6-7 months. And what you end up with is a character on that account that has 5 million skill points that is allocated to Magic 14. What are the Magic 14? The Magic 14 are the 14 skills that are useful to you when flying a ship, regardless of what kind of ship that you're flying, regardless of what activity you're doing. So these are things like navigational skills, some, to a certain extent, tanking skills, targeting skills, fitting skills, etc. Right? So these are the skills that just generally make you better at being a pilot. So you get 5 million skill points trained in your Magic 14, and you keep that million SP in the redemption window. And now you have what I call a blank clone. And that blank clone is good for two things. One, you can turn it into anything. You have 5 million allocated skill points to just make you a decent pilot, and you have 1 million skill points to customize it at the moment that you need it, right? So you can just train whatever ship skills you need, whatever weapon skills you need, whatever million skill points. It's quite a bit of skill points. It'll probably get you most of the way there. If you need to activate, like if you could even make a character go Omega, and now you could just train a Tech 2 skill potentially or whatever, right? Like it opens up tons of opportunities. You can throw them into, you can throw extra blank clones into a wormhole. So then even if you get kicked out of your wormhole, you can always hop onto your blank clone, edit it to make it exactly what you need it to do, and then get right back into the fight or whatever. These things are awesomely useful across the board. But then also, if for instance, you're going to want to buy like Plex in the future, right? If you ever buy Plex, you want to use one of these blank clone accounts that you've never used before, and then you get 4 Master Arm Cerebral Accelerators extra because of your buddy code. Like if you use your own buddy code, obviously. So, it's against the rules to spin up a new account with the buddy code in order to get those special offers if you're just to buy the Plex. But if you're already spinning up these clones to be your blank clones to be useful for elsewhere, then there's nothing stopping you from every time you want to buy Plex, you just use one of those accounts, and that gives you your extra 4 Master Arm Cerebral Accelerators, which is roughly an extra like 300 million-isk now. So great. And if you ever make that character do go Omega for whatever reason, you also get 15 extra days of Omega on your main account. So, but you can use Mike Azariah's skill plans in order to set that up. Mike Azariah is a great dude. Please donate to him. That's it for that. All right, so now let's figure out what we want to do today. So one of the things I was thinking about doing, I have an Outrider now. So I was thinking about setting up the Outrider and then like looking around to see if we can find a mining facility. Here's a question that I've been thinking about doing, and I kind of want your guys' feedback, because one of the things I've been thinking about doing is like a mining fleet on stream. So I just get an orca, like I find an interesting site to mine or whatever, and then bring my orca out there, and then people are welcome to come and join, and we just continue to like run a fleet mining op or whatever. Maybe we could do missions, like we could do fleet operations on stream that's open to anybody who's watching the stream. Now, obviously, there's a lot of risks that come in with that too. I accept that risk as a person that wants to come in. They'd have to accept that risk too, but obviously, like as the orca pilot, I'd be the bigger one. But is that something that's interesting to anybody? Would you guys like it if I was like, hey, come mine Ombre with me? Or whatever. I'm just curious. In the meantime, I'm also curious what these two signatures are. I have been like really enjoying just picking a few systems and, you know, running everything that spawns in those systems, regardless of whether or not they're good or not. Actually, you know what? That's what we could do. We could also do the... I have an escalation we could do. Anybody interested in watching an escalation? We could check out the Outrider. Or the other thing we could do... is I'm kind of interested in... So Arydanika is a really good SOE mission system. And so one of the things I really want to do is go there and make sure that there's like everything that a mission runner might need is there. Ammo, modules, etc. So we should go there, see where the holes are, and then maybe go grab, like go to Jita, pick up everything, and then drop it off there and like seed the market. That could be a fun thing to do. I just don't know what you guys want to watch me do per se. So I'm open for feedback. And even if you're watching this not live, like let me know, because obviously, you know, this is not going to be my only stream. So what happened? Why? What the heck is going on? I can't move my camera? Or I can't move the... Okay, it's better now. Combat site. Okay. I don't really want to lose the Odysseus today. What is this? Old Meanie Cultivation Center? What is... Hold on. I've never heard of that one. It's a 1 of 10 DED site. It requires only frigates. It can give... It could theoretically give C-type modules. It doesn't look like it escalates. It's probably not worth jumping through hoops in order to get the stuff to be able to do it. But what if I did what? You're entertaining and knowledgeable, would watch you shoot rats for 8 hours. Well, yeah, and that's the thing is that like I know there's a lot of people that want to just watch me like do basic stuff and talk my way through it, and because that's very useful to people, and doing things that are like not necessarily extreme things, but stuff that like you could then watch me do it and then be like, oh, that's a cool idea, and go and do it yourself. That's something I definitely want to focus on more. I also did have somebody remind me that I need to go back and do my... I do not have my Astero in my Odyssey right now. That is correct. Although I could do it with the... Oh, wait, hold on. It's 3 jumps away. 6 jumps for a level 1 site seems very, very strange thing to do, though. So either way, we're going to keep going. I think I'm actually going to tell you what. Well, I'll meet you halfway. I'm going to do something semi-dangerous in the Odysseus. We're going to see how this works. I am going to, without refitting my ship much, I'm going to try to do this escalation, which should be pretty easy to do. But we'll see.
Warp drive active.
I did a random SIG that I scanned down, and it escalated last night. So we're going to see, without looking up the site. Well, I mean, I mean, without looking too much into it, I'm going to just assume that my Odysseus can run it. I do want to, like, there is some tweaks that I want to do with the Odysseus to fix it. As you can see, I currently have. Can you see it? Hold on. Yes, as you can see, I currently have 3 tractor units or tractor beams on my Odysseus. That's because I found a deep flow rift that I sucked up. But I do need to start figuring out like what else to put in this thing in order to be able to change it around. Like, for instance, the fact that I don't have a hacking module in here is criminal. I should probably put an Astero in my Odysseus. Oop. Oh boy. Oh boy. Puppy on the move. Here's an idea. When was the last time you did Cosmos missions? I have never done Cosmos missions because I've always been just told that they're broken as hell. Actually, one thing... Oh, what happened to my computer? One thing I do want to do is either make a new... Like, I want to try, like, a speed run, as it were. You know, every once in a while we do the new player experience or whatever. And for, like, the end of the year, I think it would be nice to do, like, a speed run of doing the NPE, the career agents, and the Ore Epic Arc. Have I tried farming deep flow rats... Rift rats for standings? No. I don't think that does it. Do they count? Oh, here, let me switch to... Oop, that's... Hold on. And... Browser. Here we go. Also, they're hard as hell to kill? Okay, well... Yeah, we did dual standings in Pochvin the other day, and actually, I've also been doing some. Don't tell Zoria, but let me cover her ears. I've been doing some trig wormholes to try to fix my standings, because like my standings is like above. The goal here is that I have at least 3.0 with trig, and still get positive with Edencom. So I've got negative 1.06 with Edencom, and then still have 4.15 with the trig. So in theory, I could just keep going. But the problem is I'm actually losing 0.61 with the trig each tick, and I'm gaining 0.48 with the Edencom. So I'm not sure whether or not I can actually get Edencom to positive while still keeping the Triglavian Collective above 3. So I'm going to have to... Oh, yeah, if also, yes, if we're interested in Frontiers. So I think probably this weekend, if not this weekend, then definitely next week, we will have an episode where we re-examine Frontiers. They just put in a new WASD piloting mechanics, which might be interesting to check out. But my point is that I think I might need to do more a little bit more dual standings before I can totally fix my standings. But I'm trying desperately to do that because now that Intaki is such a great place to mine, I definitely don't want to get blown up there. You get the Tempest Fleet issue for Cosmos missions? Are you sure you're not talking about Epic Arcs? Is that in the Cosmos missions? I thought Cosmos missions mostly had, like, storyline stuff. Oh, an ore site! Hold on. What's the lowest your Edencom standings can go? I mean, -10 in theory, right? Mine was at, like, -5, I think. Or -4.5 at least. I know there's people that had lower, but the thing is that a lot of the people that had tanked their Edencom standings also lived in Pochvin, and living in Pochvin basically fixes your standings. Why isn't Taki good for mining now? Not only is it, so it's a headquarters, so it has a basic 10% minus mining bonus for being a headquarters. Also, the new signatures for Amber and there's Amber and Kernite, but there's another one. Either way, the new sites like the one I just scanned are clumped around the three systems around headquarters, so they're more common there. But also, because Intaki is both a headquarters and an Edencom system, it gets both the headquarters 10% mining bonus and the Edencom 10% mining bonus. So there's actually a 20% mining bonus inside of Intaki itself. Usually if you do Cosmos missions, you wind up getting some of the ship BPCs by default, TFIs. Man, now I kind of, okay, I should look into doing Cosmos missions maybe. Like I said, I've never done them before because I've always been told that they're like so broke to not even try. Same issue for me, Ash, but other way around, Triggs want to kill you. That is significantly easier to fix, though. Haunted Yard. Can I get into a Haunted Yard? Doesn't look like it. It says Cruiser T1 faction, so probably not this one. So I guess real talk. Does anybody want to go try to mine this this Amber deposit with me? No, you can't. Wait, I can't what? Oh, I can't go into the site. Yeah. Did they fix the belts in Intaki? Well, it's a very popular system, so the belts get mined out a lot, but that doesn't mean that it's the anomalies and the signatures that are the ones that you really want to, like, be excited about. Oh, my. Yeah, so this is the hidden Amber deposit site that is now visible in HiSec, or, you know, findable in HiSec. Amber being a traditionally low-sec ore. We can see here, I don't have a mining surveyor on this ship because it's not a mining ship. No, you don't, you didn't have to run. I wasn't going to hurt you. Trust me, this is HiSec. I was not going to lose, like, I was not going to suicide gank you in my Odysseus. Okay, Venture, you're fine. Anyway, whatever. So we can see Amber grade 4 is here. But the really nice thing about this site is that if you mine it totally out, there's a chance of it proccing to an escalation, which the signature has an increased chance of escalating. Let's see. I think I have... Is this the right video? No. Is this the right video? No. Why isn't this... Wait. Why aren't these appearing? Okay. Yeah, this is what the escalation looks like. It's huge. It's huge. They used to be low sec just after the sec status went up. Yeah, I don't know if it still does like the low sec mining in the belts and stuff, but like it almost doesn't matter now that it has all of these anomalies and stuff like that. So yes, Intaki is a very strangely good system for mining in production. And it is the Galente headquarters, so it does have the Galente shipcaster. So theoretically speaking, you could just jump your ship anywhere into, or wherever they have a shipcaster beacon. Yeah, no, yeah, the escalation site looks beautiful. And really, I mean, like, the non-escalation site, still pretty good.
Skill training complete.
Hey, mining exploitation level 4. That's crit. All right.
Warp drive active.
Oh, Zoria. Make sure to like the channel for the dog's sake. Zoria's here. She gets very depressed when she comes on camera and then nobody likes it. Not kidding. Or I'm just kidding. That's never happened before. But I'm sure she would. So make sure to like the stream. For the dog and the guineas. Well, I wouldn't say it's irrelevant, but I'm saying, like, there are other pieces that make Kentucky also pretty juicy now. I am not going to warp gate to gate with a 40 AU warp, even though it should be just fine. I'm still going to get eyes on my gate. Oh, by the way, I did notice today that, like, the camera snapping when you warp to something does now get turned off, or if you turn off dynamic camera movement. So if you have been having problems with that, that's a thing. Which I need to reset this too. Oh, wow. Okay, this bookmark is not actually on the gate.
Warp drive active.
Another project that I have been, like, talking... I had somebody, I think it was... Well, I'll let him identify himself if he wants to. I had a guy come in to the Discord yesterday, who's a friend of the show, who's working on, like, this really cool lore video that uses, like, AI for the voice and the animation and stuff. And I think that, like, this is actually a really good potential use for AI in the fact that, like, all of EVE lore is all open record, right? It's all on the universe portal. So using that to, like, help make videos of the different stories, especially, like, meta stories, like the tale of Selisagard, right? I've been working, I have a ChatGPT thing up where, like, trying to get it to assemble that entire, like, all of the major historical moments of Selisagard to kind of create a narrative story. I personally think that that'd be really cool, but the world is currently allergic to AI, so I wanted to throw that out there as an idea to see if anybody is actually interested in that. Good info on today's stream. Sucks that I'm at work. Well, that's why all of these videos are always available as VODs, and I put out highlights and stuff. Speaking of which, if you want to help me make highlights, I will compensate you, especially in game. I need people to help me make shorts or clips or edited videos or whatever. It's not actually that difficult of a process. It just needs to get done. This system is empty, which means I'm going to at least scan it out just in case.
Warp drive active.
I think that's a fine way to use AI. It's not polluting the world with AI garbage. Yeah, exactly. Like, and I think that that's the cool thing about it, like, because AI's very good at, like, assembling things together and summarizing it. So the fact that I can just point it at the universe portal and be like, hey, I want you to write out everything that you can find about Selisagard, right? And it did a pretty decent job of it. But then you combine that with the fact that I know what the hell I'm talking about. So I can read that stuff and be like, oh, you missed this. This is wrong. Da-da-da-da-da. And so I can nitpick it and polish it down to actually be a decent telling of things, not just AI slop. That's my thoughts. But again, like, so many people are, like, it's such a controversial thing right now that I wonder whether or not it's even worth it, even if you do it, quote unquote, well, right? But the idea of, like, collaborative creation with AI tools, I think has a lot of potential to it. There are even channels that replace the AI voice with human readers. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, this would not just be like, okay, put it into ChatGPT and whatever it gets out, go from there. Like, I would take that product and then I would further edit it to make sure it's right. So if anybody's interested in that, I am looking to work with somebody on these kinds of things. So if you want to do creative, collaborative stuff about Eve or something else, please, please, please come into the Discord and hit me up. We'll chat. And again, if you want to help out with the stream or with the show, either like helping edit or whatever, I do offer skill injectors, skill accelerators, and other rewards for people that help out. You can use it to gather the information to your satisfaction and personally edit it. Exactly. Right. Exactly. It's just, it cuts out a lot of the menial work process of it. But again, like having somebody who's competent watching over it makes sure that a lot of the normal issues that happen with AI, like, are avoided. That being said, I want to say, like, Google's AI thing is the worst thing I have seen ever, and it really upsets me. And I want Google to just completely remove that feature because I think it's going to be very destructive to even just leave it there in its current state. So don't think I'm all like hyper pro. AI is a tool. And the question is it a tool that's going to be used to empower people or to control people? And the answer is probably both. Asia's capital ship facility. Regional suppresses data processor. So nothing of use. I could theoretically hack the stuff if I had a hacking module, but I don't, so we're just going to keep going. Some people are tools too. I mean, people aren't just tools, but there are a lot of people that are tools. I like to think of myself as a tool. Am I useful? But, like, for instance, so here's a pitch. Black Mountain series is a series of chronicles, like it's a long series of chronicles that tells a story of the SOE and the SOCT that a lot of people don't talk about very much. I haven't even really sat down and, like, I keep on meaning to, like, sit down and reading it through it carefully. I tried to do a reading of it, but, like, whatever. But the point is that all of the characters, or almost all of the characters in that story, are also in Eve Galaxy Conquest. So we could take that story, and then we could take the images from Eve Galaxy Conquest, and I could theoretically shove all of that into an AI generator to actually make, like, a movie version of the story. I don't know how well it would work out, but I feel like that's the kind of thing that AI should actually be relatively good at. So I've done a lot of the work for them. Let's go ahead and dock up and refit, and then we'll go into the site and see what happens. Google's AI is also subject to people buying influence. I once used the search to find out about a sensitive topic about various areas of the U.S. and one of the states. And for one of the states that I asked about, the AI said something like, sorry, I can't tell you that. But when asked for a comparison, then it delivered. Yeah, no, I mean, that's always there. That is true. And, like, my problem is how little Google's AI cares about hallucinations. Like, 80% of the time, if I look at the AI thing, it's wrong. And sometimes so flagrantly so that it's almost insulting. So, for instance, yesterday, we were looking into the hurricane, right? So there's the hurricane and the hurricane Arcombine Arisen skin. Now, as we said earlier, the Arcombine Arisen skins, those came from doing Vanguard. I did Vanguard. I did almost all of Vanguard. I did a lot of Vanguard. And yet I don't have a hurricane Arcombine Arisen skin. And some of the other people within our chat, I think Thrans, does. And so the question was like, oh, well, how did I miss that? Did I just not buy it? Did I miss it in some other way? Like, what happened here? So I went to go do my normal search about, you know, where did the hurricane Arcombine Arisen skin come from? And ChatGPT, or not ChatGPT, but Google's AI helper was like, the Hurricane Arcombine Arisen skin is a skin for the popular ship in EVE Online, the Cyclone Fleet issue. And for the rest of the whole thing, they're just talking about the Cyclone Fleet issue Arcombine Arisen skin. And the reason why is because when you search for stuff, there is actually a lot of discussion about the Cyclone Fleet issue Arcombine Arisen skin. So there's a lot of different posts about that. So like, the AI just decided to not give a shit about what I actually asked for and gave a different answer and then try to gaslight me that that was what I asked for in the first place. And that just like, I feel like one of the things, like Google and Wikipedia and all this stuff has allowed us as a society to kind of better fact check things, better create this society of like understanding. And now with these AI functioning as intermediaries of knowledge, it's not even so much that the knowledge that they're giving is bad and therefore they're teaching people bad things. The problem is that because that they are bad, they're actually eroding our relationship with those tools of discovery in the first place, right? Like, now I am less confident about Googling information. It used to be Googling the information was sacred. Like, that was like, oh yeah, I Googled it, and that was it. That was the answer that you could give, and people would be like, cool, he must know what he's talking about. But they've undermined that as a system of information because it's just like, oh yeah, and guess what? Some of the times, what it tells you is just fucking wrong, and that's fine. I'm not fine with that. All right, whatever. We're going to put in guns. We're going to put in Scorch. We're going to get going. One of the things I don't like about this ship for PvE, this setup that I have now, which is different than last time. So, like, the good news is that I can have, like, 1 trillion cap boosters. So, I went with the... oh, yeah. And the other thing with the AI is that so often, like, small things about how you phrase it will give you very different answers. So, yeah, the problem is that there's too much priority on giving an answer. If the AI could be like, oh, yeah, I don't really know, then I could be more confident about it. But it's not allowed to say, I have a low confidence in this. It must speak confidently in order for it to succeed by its own metrics. So it's just going to confidently lie to you instead. So this ship is, I mean, like, this setup is great, and I have all of the cap boosters that I need. But the problem is that because it relies so much on cap boosters, if I'm just doing normal operations, it still requires me consuming cap boosters to use. So I'm kind of tempted to, like, switch out one of the cap boosters for a cap battery or cap recharger, just so we can not have to consume cap for just normal operations. But we'll see how it plays out in this actual combat environment. Also, I needed to get different fucking drones. I forgot to replace my drones. Oh well. There's a Shadow Serpentis rat in the first room, so that's already good. Let's primary the Shadow Serpentis. Wait, I'm not hitting the Shadow Serpentis rat? Oh, there we go. Okay. Let's say, if my drones can't hit the Shadow Serpentis rat, we're going to be having to rethink this. I should have left one tractor unit, huh? Oh, sorry. $4 million. Shadow Serpentis kinetic armor hardener. That's kind of cool. Any of this I can go into the other box? Not really. Okay. And I don't really care about the rest of the loot.
Warp drive active.
So again, this is a very easy dungeon or site overall. I know people always freak out when people call it a dungeon instead of a site. Wait. Hold on. What? Did I get another one? Wait. Okay, so I had a second escalation. But this is the one I'm in now. Yeah, this is the one I'm in now. So I got a second escalation at that other site, I think. Must have. Okay, so not much here except for an empty warehouse. Perhaps the next location will reveal something. Wait. Hold on. So did it just escalate? Let me go double check. Now I gotta look it up. God damn it. Angel kickbacks. Probable ship warp into the pocket, possible escalation. Escalation message. Again, a similar setup. And last time you caught the bad guys in the act. Now that perhaps the next location will lead you to something more interesting. That isn't what I got. What does it escalate to? On warp in, kill Shadow Serpentis. See, I'm even capping myself out just sitting here. Okay. Not much here except for an empty warehouse. So that is... So I got an escalation to Angel Kickbacks Part 2, which is this one. So I think I'm done with this one. Part 1. Yeah. Yeah, that was it. That was the whole thing. All right, let's go. Let's go to part 2. It can escalate 4 times. All right, well, let's go.
Warp drive active.
This ship is so beautiful. It's got so many different cool things when it's like going into warp and stuff. Like, I love it. I love it. Also, this glowing stripe on this skin reminds me that, like, sure, we've got matte, we've got satin, we've got metallic. What they need to do is come out with skin colors that glow. That's the next step, right? That's the next one. I want skin colors that actually are glow effects.
Warp drive active.
Anybody got any cool things for Black Friday? Enter entire ships that are glowing? Sure, why not? Whatever, why not? I mean, if you really want it to be, whatever, you can make it so that it's only certain patterns have that ability, but I'd say just let them. Found that, oh. Okay, well, I mean.
Warp drive active.
That's perfect for Cyber Monday. Let's reset Peld. Ashenai feels like a system that I should know too. What's important with this system? Pashani, I feel like this is a system that has come up in the news before. Public University. Oh, it's stuff with the Bloody Hands of Matar? Okay, back in 2008, there was a big thing that went down there. Breaking Theology Council head potentially among the Pashani dead. Pashani, the first casualties from the state of the Pashani incident has been confirmed in excess of 4,300. According to numbers just released by Amar Navy High Command, containment and relief operations are underway at the scene, with several station sectors are either still on fire or suffering dangerous gas leaks. It's been reported that Mervyn Meritok, the head of the Theology Council, may have been among those in the station at the time the explosion took place. Attempts to confirm this within the Empire are underway. We'll have more information as it develops. Republic University scholar causes controversy over Pashani attack. A senior scholar at the Republic University upset many MR citizens today over his comments regarding the attack on the Pashani system a week ago. Erglan Vos, a crucial professor in social studies of Republic University, made the controversial remarks during an interview with the wider Social Review, a respected Galente-based political analysis journal. When asked by TWSR, last week's event of the Amar Empire and their effects on the Minmatar Republic's future, Vros stated that he foresees little to no impact on the current political situation as the 7 Minmatar tribes work towards a common government. The loss of life may be tragic, said Vros, but I don't see how the bombing in Amar will disrupt the reunification process. We are forging ahead with creating a new future for the Minmatar people. Our focus is on our new government, not the problems of the Empire. When asked to expand upon his comment, Vros continued with the controversial statement, quote, given the social factors at play between the Amar and the Minmatar, it is clear now violent organizations such as the Bloody Hand will continue to spawn. If the Amar want to look at who brought about such actions, they should look at themselves, end quote. Since their publication earlier today, Erglan Vros' remarks has been met with outrage among many of the Amar Empire, including prominent holders and theological scholars. The Republic University has yet to issue a comment on the situation. So that is related to the Bloody Hand of Amar, the Bloody Hand of Matar, which is actually was a group within the Minmatar. It was actually Capsuleer associated, if I remember correctly, but there's a whole skin line that celebrates this. The Bloody Hands of Matar is a Minmatar terrorist organization responsible for numerous attacks in both the Republic and the Amar Empire. The group was founded in early YC109 during a period of protests and rioting at the killing of the Defiance leader Karshal Murator by the Republic forces acting under the orders of Karen Midgelar. So yeah, this is that the Defiance story, which we have talked about a little bit because like this is really the story of how the Senator Malatu Shakur, the current head of the Minmatar, kind of got into power because he was a Defiant, or is a Defiant, or whatever. It's a story. It is believed that the Bloody Hand symbolism is inspired by the use of the Bloody Fist logo in the Ursha Khan alliance of Capsuleer freedom fighters. So yeah, the Bloody Hands was associated with Ursha Khan originally. Terry Group pulled off their greatest coup in YC112, killing thousands in a massive bombing of an Amar Ministry of War station in the Pashani system. So we are heading there right now. Although hunted by both Republic Security Services and Amar Ministry of Internal Order, the Bloody Hands have evaded elimination and officially remain an active threat. And you can buy these skins right now. Right? Yeah, on the Nest store. This is one of the ones that are just kind of left up here quite a bit. But, they're most known for having this bloody hand. Although that is low res. That is some pixelated. Is it better on any of the other ships? This one just doesn't have a hand? Okay, that's cool too. There we go. I don't know, man. Yeah, it looks. Now that I look at it, it is kind of pixelated. But no, I do know that there's quite a few people that really like it for its lore, like thing. There we go. That one looks better. You can definitely see where it is low resolution on the hand. Anyways, also, wow, that they should definitely do like a resolution pass on this skin. I would say. This is an old skin though too, and you know it's been on the market or it's in the Plex store forever. $250 Plex. Yeah, now there are Paragon skins. There's no pattern for the bloody hand, though, right? Oh, a large and a small Ombre deposit. Let's go ahead and scan down this site to see if there's either of these other two things are interesting. Because if they are, this could be an interesting system to revisit when we're done messing with this. By the way, we are currently living in a world where, like, my son is back to living with his mom, so hopefully I'll be streaming more often. As I alluded to earlier, I plan on actually streaming this weekend. So make sure to subscribe to the channel and head to the Discord and give yourself a flag for YouTube, so that way you can get all of my videos when they are, or, you know, see the notifications when I go live. And consider becoming a member. You get edited videos and other, like, highlights and stuff early. Wormhole. Although I'm not gonna lie, if I do something today or this weekend, it might be on like a new channel and be about Raid Shadow Legends. Just give you guys a fair warning. What do we got? What do we got? Combat site. Okay. Level 1 combat site. Is you a boring combat site, or are you a deep flow rift? Deep flow rift. Sweet. Okay. Well, I'm going to go run the escalation. And then we might come back and do the deep flow rift. I think it's time to change my skin. I've seen so many pioneers out and about recently. They, at least, okay, hold on. I just noticed that I'm having that, like, always warp sound bug again. I wonder if it's because I did the skinner change. I wonder if it's because I did the skin change. All right, we're gonna log out safely real quick. Because, like, when I did the skin change, it restarted the sound effect. It's like my most annoying bug. I wonder if it's because I changed skin while I was in warp, and that reset the sound, and now it's just like turned on. I turned myself up a little bit. I don't know if the volumes are good. Hopefully that's good.
Connecting.
Yay. Okay. There's a Pashani monument, but again, no weather effect by the Odysseus in this system, even though there is a landmark. It's going to be like, I almost feel like I need to figure out a list of all of the landmarks and see, not only figure out whether, like, what is the effect in different places, but also answer the question of, is there an effect in different places? Find all the different places that don't have an effect, that probably could have an effect. Again, like, the fact that Monarch has an effect, but Ulai and Pashani don't, is kind of weird. Ulai not having an effect is by far the most weirdest one, in my opinion. Where is... There's a thing for landmarks, right? Statistics. Sovereignty. Is it here? There's one with landmarks. I thought. Didn't we look at it? Or was that the map online? Now I've got all these things confused. My avoidance systems, my... Okay. Huh. I thought there was landmarks here. I know there's that bookmarks folder that we were using. Alright, well. Guess not. Or I just missed it or something. Either way. The Pashani Monument. This monument honors the thousands of martyrs who lost their lives in the brutal terrorist attacks against the station in YC112, including the esteemed high official of both the Ministry of War and the Theology Council. These dedicated servants of the Empire were slain by cowardly bombing orchestrated by the so-called Bloody Hands of Matar terrorist organization. Let this monument of the fully repaired Ministry of War station stand as testament to the resilience of the Holy Amar Empire and the commitment to bring Empress's justice to all those who would seek harm of the Empire and its subjects. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Dutch. Yeah, you know, it helps to have an entire alliance to raid and steal from in order to get Odysseus built. No, I'm just kidding. Kind of. That said, man, SOELP right now is so hot. It's so great, too, because, like, so normally with mission running, like 1,000 ISK per LP is insanely good. And right now you can get, without even trying, 1.2 to 1.8, or sorry, it's 1,200 to 1,800 ISK per LP. And what's really nice about it is, like, so SOE net resonators are very easy math to figure out, because, like, so they're 1 million ISK each and 1,000 LP. So basically, if it's 1,000 ISK per LP, it's 2 million, whatever. Anything above 2 million is that many ISK per LP. So, like, if it's 1,500 ISK per LP is the same as, you know, 2.5 million for a net resonator. And these net resonators are going for, a lot of times, like 3 million ISK each. Hey! Again, a similar setup. This time you caught some of the bad guys in the act. Not that stealing from the Serpentis is necessarily bad. Now, if only that you would find one of these hideouts where the angels still store some booty. Perhaps the next location will lead you to something more interesting. So we're going to keep going, guys. We're going to keep going. Hey, it's in Pamene. Hell yeah. Ooh, 46 million mid-grade Asclepian Alpha. Hell yeah. So we've gotten 46 million so far in this little expedition of we didn't think anything was going to happen. So, doing good already. And as you've seen, I've done so, none of this is anything that requires any, like, I did go through some low sec, but it's all the sites have been in high sec so far. And, this could easily be done with, like, I wasn't even through shields. Like, this is not a difficult site, and I've already gotten 50 million escrow stuff. I'm just going to go inside. I think it's probably going to just be the same thing inside, right? Where it's, like, empty. This is why doing high-sec anoms and SIGs are good. It's not that, like, any given site is going to be good. It's that, you know, some of them will escalate. Some of those escalations will have something good in it. Oh, there is stuff in here. But I've already gotten the escalation, so I don't know how necessary this is going to be, but we're still going to do it. Let me double check the report. If I can find it. Ah, here he is. So this is part 2, right? Yeah. So then this is going to go to part 3, but part 2, pocket 2, possible, probably simple warp into the pocket for possible escalation as in all previous locations. So it can, so I got it escalating before I even went in here. So this room is kind of useless to me. Also, they're not even attacking me, which is weird. Are there any, like, large collidable objects or anything that's worth noting here? Snake-shaped plane? Oh. That's a rock. No. I don't think there's anything useful here. Right? Okay. I think we're just done then. I do want to probe down the signature, though, while I'm here. And Dutch is also doing a thing on Saturday. If anybody's interested in doing that, the Drifter Hive dives. I think more information on the ARC Discord. I think... Does this work? It might work. Hey, Destroy 25. Getting my air career path done. Or whatever, dailies. Nope, I guess not. Well, Consortium Operations channel in game should probably lead you in the right direction. I don't really care about a wormhole right now, I guess. I can just head out.
Warp drive active.
Off we go. We've got 8 jumps. Oh, sorry. You can see we've got 8 jumps to Pomene. I don't think I've ever had that many escalations in a row. Well, this is a specific, like, this is a chain that has up to, we're on part, we just finished part 2? Yeah, so we did part 1, that was, had nobody in the second pocket. Part 2 had stuff in the second pocket. We're now on our way to part 3, which there is a total of 4 parts that it could escalate to. Oh, I relogged, didn't I? Is that what got rid of these signatures? I think so. Either that or this is a different system, one of the two. So, while we're going, does anybody have anything we want to talk about? There's a Stratios. It's probably the Stratios' probes, too. We are going to go through Kamerk and Uli. Once again, Uli, no effect. Still sad. How did that, of all of the systems, to have like a landmark effect, I would have expected the Uli to be like one of the top ones. I don't think Luminaire has one either. Wait, does Luminaire have one? Now I kind of want to know if Luminaire has one. Now, granted, most of these effects are kind of not important in the long run. There's a couple of them that are cool. I think that the best one right now that I've seen so far is Thera. Thera has a warp speed bonus, and that's pretty good. Let's put this over here too, so you guys can see. After years of hearing you talk about faction warfare, I'm finally diving in. That's another good one that we should do. We should dive into faction warfare one of these days too, for like a stream or two. Is there a way to tell if a system has bonuses? Only once you're in it. So like, there's the little charms at the bottom of your HUD that show you like effects. It shows up there. But CCP has been, I think, intentionally cagey about what bonuses are where, because they want people to just go and figure it out. We've been using it as an excuse to kind of fly around and do some sightseeing. But if you watched my stream last time, there might have been a bit of a setback, but here we are, a couple days later, back at it like nothing happened. Oh, while we're here, actually, I'm going to set something up. We're going to show you another video. Let me set this up real quick. Online. Empyrean Age. So, why does Yulai deserve to be a thing? Well, let's go ahead and... First of all, so Yulai is the headquarters of Concord. Is this where it is? Is it the Yulai graveyard? Let's go look. Minor setback. Hey, you know, ADHD distractions. It's fine. Which one of these ones is the one that got hit, is my question. I think, is it this one? Is it Yulai 9? No, I don't think so, right? Maybe? Oh, nope, yep. It's this one. Maybe? Yes. Okay. So here is the Yulai graveyard. So you can see here, let's not lock things up. That's a bad idea. That's a bad idea. This is why you keep your safeties green. So that way you don't do dumb things like I almost just did. But either way. So we cloak. And we can see like all these different wrecks here. These are all Concord ships. And over here we see a station in the background, which we can warp to. That is, the nickname for this station is the broken microphone. Yes, the Malin station and the other one that they were just talking about have both been repaired, but this one has not. So in case you don't know how this happened, I mean, this is kind of okay for that. Let's just watch this video real quick.
The cycle of life and death was supposed to end with us. We were to be the start of a new age. A destiny of light. An Empyrean age.
Okay, so there you go. We saw it right there. So what happened here? This is the beginning of the Empyrean Age, which was also a book. And this is what kind of opened up faction warfare as a mechanic and whatnot as the empires very, very nearly descend back into war after over 100 years of peace, after the Concord, or, you know, Yulai Accords and the formation of Concord. But the Minmatar have kind of chafed under the idea that the Amarr has been kind of using this allure of peace to maintain over half of the Matari population into enslavement, and kind of using bureaucracy against the Minmatar. So at that time, a young upstart delegate from the Minmatar to Concord, a guy by the name of Tgen Tgen, stood up in front of Concord and basically said, if your guys are going to be a tool for the Amarr to be able to impose upon us, then we can't accept that. We can't accept Concord's agreements, and this is a problem. And kind of gets, you know, starts this huge kind of concern. He's also, by the way, the one who called us first Empyreans. He said, Capsuleers are the Empyreans of our age, our shepherds to the stars. But so Tgen Tgen then finds out that there's actually this secret plan by the Minmatar between the Thucker and the Elders in order to attack deep into Amarr space in order to rescue the lost tribe of the Matari people. There is a tribe of the Matar that was believed to be completely destroyed by the Amarr, but it turns out that there was a small collection of them still remaining, and thus began this massive attack by what's known as the Elder Fleet. So once again, Tgen Tgen shows up to Concord Station in Yulai and was like, hey, this time he comes with a bunch of dreadnoughts and stuff. And he's like, hey, y'all need to start acting right, otherwise there's going to be a problem next time, and then left, and things didn't get better. And so the next time they showed up, they blew up the station because they needed to, the idea was that this was a diversion. They needed to take down their security network so that way they could attack deep into Amar space. And deep they did go. They made it all the way to Sorum Prime, which is, I think, 1 or 2 jumps to Amar Prime. And they did succeed in rescuing the... oh, God. Now I can't think of their actual name. But the Lost Tribe. But let's see how it ends up for them. It's 1 jump, yeah.
Yet these tombs call out to us.
Starkmanir, thank you.
All the heroes and villains vanquished within cry out at once, begging for justice.
So there's the blown up Concord station. Here's the Mimitar fleet.
We will fight for what we believe in. We will take a side, and our wrath will be furious.
Okay, so... Oh, yeah, hold on. Okay, this scene. This is probably one of the most pivotal moments in EVE history in most recent years. Right now, this scene is above the planet in Sorum Prime. This is taking place in Sorum Prime, above the city of Mechios. Is it Mechios? Yeah, right? Pretty sure I'm right. Man, I'm having a name problem today. But either way, so the key here is that just prior to this, the Amar Empire had to get a new ruler. Now, when the Amar need a new emperor or empress, they have this big competition where one of the heads of the noble houses gets chosen to become the new emperor, and the rest of the heads of the noble houses must commit ritual. Can't talk about it on YouTube. I mean, whatever. So in this scenario, Jamil Sorum was the head of the Sorum family, and she lost the competition. And while at first she put resistance to, you know, going through with the rite of Shathal Sin, I will say, in the end she did. She went out and got in a pod, and then she got potted, and of course Amar royal family are not allowed to be cloned. There is a law called the Rite of Sacred Flesh, which says that the actual flesh itself of the heirs is holy, and therefore they are not allowed to be cloned. However, of course, Jamil did not want to die, and so there is a plot to secretly clone her at a location called the Matriarch Citadel. And this is how the infection from the sleeper construct gets into her brain, and this leads to everything that kind of goes out from there. But one of the things that the other reveals to her is the location of this ancient Terran superweapon that is very, very strong. It uses Isogen 5 in order to do its thing. And so she gets this superweapon. So now she has this weapon that's more powerful than any weapon that has ever been seen in New Eden, at least in recent history. And spoiler, she's not dead. So, but only her most innermost circle knows what the hell happened. So here we have, in this moment, the Mimitar Elder Fleet comes out of nowhere, takes down Concord, and then cuts all the way deep into Amar space, up to, as it was said in chat, the doorstep of Amar Prime. And then, as they're above Mechios, the home city of Sorum, the birthplace of Jamil Sorum, she emerges out of nowhere with her fleet. Nobody thought that she was alive, and does this.
Welcome to the Empyrean Age.
So we're going to have to go there at some point to check out the landmarks that are in Mechios, to show it off. There's a statue for Jamil there and stuff. But, you know, that super weapon, which is incredibly powerful, uses Isogen 5, which is this incredibly rare isotope of isogen that only shows up in certain blue stars. And this super weapon, so she attempts to like get rid of it, and it ends up being captured by a bunch of rogue drones, brought to this place, found by some SOE and Blood Raiders and stuff. Anyway, long story short, in order to stop the Blood Raiders from getting their hands on it, the SOE pilot blows it up, which causes a chain reaction between all of these different Isogen 5 caches throughout the cluster, which leads to the Apocrypha event, which leads to the wormholes, which leads to exposing the drifters, which leads to to Jamil, controlled by the other, exploring into drifter or into the sleeper space in order to get the implants, in order to develop her Templar armory, which allows the drifters or the other to begin to get outside of the construct, and so on and so forth. And this is really how the precursor crisis started, was with this moment. And this is the station in Uli. There you go. Uli's a cool place. It actually has some good Eve history too, because it used to be that Uli was the main trade hub before it was Jita. It was Uli, and it was because Uli was like the most centrally aligned system in the game, or in HiSec, right? So if we look at HiSec, it's not really obvious in 3D map or 2D map, but if we go look at the 2D map, we can see that like Genesis is pretty much this nice central point for all 4 empires. So it used to be the trade hub. It used to be more connected, but they rerouted things around it in order to... Was the pilot not Thucker? You're right. Wait, you're right. I'm so dumb. Yes, the SOE guys, the SOE people were naive and got killed. The Blood Raiders were the ones that were trying to get the gun or the weapon, and the Thucker pilot was the one that blew it up. Thank you for the clarification. It was a Thucker pilot in a Vagabond, if I remember correctly. And the Drifters caused the emergence of the Triglavians, all because they didn't want to die, so selfish. I would argue, more likely than not, that Concord caused the Triglavians in an attempt to try to, like, as part of an experiment to attempt to stop the Drifters. But yeah, it's all kind of the same thing. Anywho. So, back in the day, Uli was the most centralized system. It was the main system. It was the Jita of the old days. And so on the 3rd of March, YC126, a group of capsuleers united under the Zombie Inc. Corporation established a successful siege of one of the Uli system's gates. At the time, Uli was a key market hub, and a siege caused a major disruption in the flow of trade. Stranded Concord ships and sentry guns proved no match for the Zombie Inc. fleet remote repair capacity. The situation was resolved when then active Jovian delegate to Concord intervened with their advanced technology. After this encounter, the Concord Inner Circle held an emergency meeting at the Jovian delegation agreed to provide their technology for purposes of substantially upgrading the Concord fleet. To this day, the Concord fleet core elements remained among the most powerful in New Eden. Yeah, so when you kill something, or when you do a criminal act and Concord comes to blow you up, it used to be that, Concord are just entities in the game. They have stats. And so they were able to tank them. So they couldn't get Concorded. They just, like, had a blockade that survived Concord, so they could just kill everybody who came through, regardless of whatever. So that was a bloody day, and like literally CCP had to step in and stop them, and that's why Concord is now basically invincible, because the idea of having Concord have real stats that have to be dealt with ended up being like, well, we can't let players basically just completely undermine the defenses that Concord has. So that also happened in Uli. That was first, by the way. That happened before the Empyrean Age events. That was very, very early EVE Online. Yes, YC106 is 2004. So, like, a year into the game. Or less. Back when they thought that, like, having actual town guards was a good idea. Oh, yeah, no, it's... It's wild. That's why you watch my channels. That's why you like my streams. And go check out my historical stuff. I do have like a whole playlist of lore and other stuff. Excellent, excellent. And remember, you can always hop in the Discord and come talk to me and ask questions. Okay, guys, there is a hidden Amber deposit 2 jumps from Pamene. God, I feel like we should be jumping on this. I'm going to go look at it real quick. Yeah, I often make jokes about the fact that, like, I try to put even in context for my fellow Empyreans, but often, like, there'll be a thing that happens today. And it's like, okay, well, let me explain what's happening. So in 2015, blah, 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 like, so much of the story, like, it's all about a chain of events, right? One thing leading to the next, leading to the next, leading to the next. Haunted Yard. That one's the one I can't do, right? I thought Concord ships still have stats, but player ships get shut down and a rule they're not allowed to use any countermeasures to avoid. Yeah, any attempt to overly delay Concord blowing you up is now against the rules, like boomeranging and stuff like that. And they do completely shut off your ship's functions as soon as they start acting on you. I mean, I think that they technically still have stats, but they made them effectively gods amongst men by the rules. Like, I think they technically still have stats, but I think that their resistance is like 99.999, so whatever. Because the simulation requires them to have stats. Like, everything has to follow the rules. Everything has to follow the rules of the simulation. Even like when CCP is doing something, like the way that they are invincible isn't just for automatic or whatever. They actually have an implant that they put in that gives them 99.99% resistances to everything, so that way you can't kill them. There's a special, I think there's an implant. I don't think it's a. I know they have like dev commands, but I'm pretty sure the thing that makes it so they're not visible and local is also an implant. I do know that like the one that makes them invulnerable is because when they were doing live events, they did a live event at PAX, and so we were able to watch like CCP running the live event, and it was CCP Drop Bear, and he had like the Sancha mothership, or super carrier, whatever, and people were attacking it, and like it was funny because like everybody was saying, and then he like reveals the fact that he's just got a full rack of smart bombs and stuff. It was really funny, but one of the things he did was like he sat there and tanked them for a little while, and then when it was time to like let them have their fun, he pulled out the implant that allowed them to start damaging him. I would argue that Valor could also have a special effect. It might be a bit excessive, but I mean, the Valor is the current like operational capital of the Gallente Federation. You'd think that'd be kind of important. Is there an effect on Old Man Star? God damn it, you're gonna get me killed. We'll go look at it. Why only War Headquarters having a bonus? Our capital system high? Well, I mean, there's a lot of other, like I said, Monarch, the Alliance tournament system, has an effect. Molia Cemetery has an effect. Oh, that's a proper landmark. Like, that's a special structure that they put in just for that. But you know what else is a special structure that was just put in for a landmark? Old Man Star. This is the Odysseus. It is crazy good, but crazy expensive. It's an exploration command ship. And it has special bonuses when you're in particular systems that have landmarks. That's what we're talking about right now. It does not have a special... So, okay.
Warp drive active.
Let me get off grid real quick, or at least get me to my pounds. So yeah, this doesn't have any special effect, even though it absolutely should. You're proud of your Pioneer. The Pioneer is such a good ship. So this Stargate is loud as fuck. Holy shit. Okay. I have no idea how that happened. Okay. So, this Stargate, as you can see, is unique. Okay. 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 Let's rein that in a little bit. Okay. So this Stargate is special and unique, and in fact, there is an entire chronicle called Old Man Star, which tells the story of Old Man Devereaux, who jumped to this system as part of like the construction of the Stargate. You can actually see the ship right there, but the ship, like, there is a navigational error during the. So basically, they left Valor. The whole idea was that they wanted to build this Stargate to this new system. This system was not connected to Valor back then. So they send out this expedition to go set up this Stargate, right? So it uses an FTL jump to get here. Navigation goes bad. It comes out of a jump and crashes directly into an asteroid field, killing all but one of the crew members. Turns out the one person that survived was the drone specialist of the crew, and so he reworked all of the systems, life support systems and all that stuff, got it all working again to keep him alive, and then proceeded to use his drones to complete the construction of the Stargate. So it was like 40 years later, something like that, suddenly the Stargate that everybody thought was just never going to turn on, turns on, and in comes Old Man Devereaux, the sole remaining member of his crew, having completed this Stargate and connected the now what is known as the system of Old Man Star, named after him, to Valor. So that's how this Stargate got made. And the fun fact to that is Old Man Devereaux then went on, you know, like I said, he was the drone specialist. So he went on to found a corporation which we still know today as Creodrone, the drone specialists of Gallente. So founded by Old Man Devereaux after his return from his fantastic journey to Opera system. The Opera system is what this system was called before it was Old Man Star. Again, this is like before the game actually came out. This is all pre-lore. Creodrone has been leading the corporation drone manufacture and development for many years. So this is the origin story of that. Yeah, okay, you've been working for him. Doesn't the jump gate require both sides to be on? Well, yeah, but the other Stargate, they'd already built the Stargate in Valor. So it was just sitting there kind of ready to go, not connected to anything for decades. And then suddenly it comes online. Hold on, let me go pull up the Chronicle. Well, remember, these things are powered by things like pegs, so it's not like they have to fuel them. I think. I'm pretty sure. All right. Imagine the surprise of the Stargate controllers in the Valor system when the patched-up construction ship limped through the Stargate, the triumphant remains of a mission long since considered dead and lost. Devereaux reveled in the media limelight for a while before launching his own company, Creodrone, centered on the blueprints created in an incredible voyage lasting almost half a century. He died a few years later, his frail body and failing internal organs too badly damaged for cloning, but his legacy remains to this day. Creodrone is the biggest drone manufacturing company in the universe. Okay. All the equipment needed to construct the Stargate was long since destroyed or altered beyond recognition. Devereaux was forced to start from scratch devising and building innovative drones and robot factories. He centered his activity around a large asteroid that was conveniently close to the resonance point between the white main star and the tiny brown companion. There, on that asteroid, Devereaux constructed a small assembly factory as well as his home, and for 5 years he labored along with his robot friends to complete single-handedly a Stargate, a feat which maybe a handful of people in the whole universe could pull off. Devereaux performed at the age of 80, white-haired, wrinkle-faced, shaking hands and all. So yeah, I don't know if they talked too much about the Stargate that was left on their side here. This is mostly focusing on the old man star. So, yeah, oh yeah, no, he's a legend. I think part of the problem is that like the jump drive, like they already built it, and it's not like you're going to move it somewhere else. It was already on the correct resonance spot. So maybe they plan to someday get it fixed. In YC11, when the Gallente Caldari War was near its end, the Gallentean construction ship set out from a desolate system then known as Operia, where the little monetary gain to be had from the system's middling asteroid fields, but a Stargate there would serve as a link between the Percanuet Circle and the Petrae Perimeter, which made up a good long-term trade prospect. The construction ship departed Valor system, some 12 light years distant. Estimated travel time was only a few minutes. The crew consisted of 5 people. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, they don't really talk about the other gate, but I think that if you look at the Stargate description stuff, like, it is an FTL communication, so like he could wait, if he knows how, he'd be able to wake it up from his side, and it was already prepared to do it. So yeah, it's an old man star.
Warp drive active.
And my forever warp sound effect is already back. I hate it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the Stargates use pegs, which would mean that they're drawing power straight from subspace. We have to fuel jump bridges because jump bridges don't use resonant points. What is a peg? Oh gosh. This is like some of the more controversial lore. It's unknown whether or not current ships use pegs, but basically this is the technology that allowed the MR to take to space again. It's basically a giant, or it's like a sphere that connects and draws power directly from subspace. And the idea is that like this is the very thing that allows us to warp. And this also creates the gravity well that we power ourselves with. There's a great talk by the Pope of New Eden. Max Singular. No, nope. That's another guy. Wait, is it Max? Yeah, Max Singularity. Right? No. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm having such a day with names. Yeah, he works for one of the two. The NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and he created like a model of physics that makes Eve work, and it's surrounding around this technology called the PEG. So he's done a couple of talks, the physics of New Eden. See, this one doesn't have a bonus. Oh, no. Yeah, okay, never mind. The other one doesn't have this doesn't have an Odysseus bonus. The other one doesn't have an Odysseus bonus either. But yeah, it is somewhat controversial, like his description of subspace and whether or not we still use the pegs or whatever, but basically his version of it explains how anchoring works in Eve and how ships' warp systems work. All right, let's kill some more guys. Hey, here we go. It's another hidden warehouse, and this time a stiffer resistance. There's one location left, and it should get interesting. Your computer grabs your attention, indicating that the route to the last location has been calculated. But this one's in low sec. Well, the good news is I am in Pamene, which means I should be near basically all of my ships. So let's find out what I want to go try to do this fight in. Oh, you guys can't see where it goes. Well, that's probably nice. I'm going to keep that secret for a second. Nothing good here. Let me go find that. Where is... This is part 3, right? Yeah, so there's nothing inside either. Okay, what do I want to use to get this site? What do I want to use to get this site? Nothing really here that I want to use. Oh, wait, hold on. Perfect. We'll do this. And just in time, it killed the last rat. We're just going to go inside to see what's going on. Nothing's inside, right? Why is there this inner pocket if there's anything good in it? I guess it's a second opportunity for it to escalate? Is that what it is?
Warp drive active.
Yeah, I don't really see anything. Is it Galente Stargate here? Wait, is that true? Or is that... Yeah. That's kind of cool. And a Minmatar structure. Weird. All right. Where is that? There we go. Let's go and dock.
Warp drive active.
So this is going to be super dangerous. Because it's a lawless system. Did anybody hear that? There's like a moment of like sound, like it's like the music plays full volume for like 1 second, like pop, like that. It's been driving me crazy for like the last 2 weeks. I hope you guys can hear it.
Accepted.
That.
Permission requested.
Done. I don't know what's causing it. Okay. I mean, this should be more than enough, right? Yeah. We're just going to go this way. So Shorter? Hell yeah. Let's go. Don't really hear any of my game sounds, to be honest. Well, fair enough.
Warp drive active.
So this is going to be pretty deep into low sec. It's actually not too far from Tama. That's spooky. And it's several jumps into this mess. Oh, the insurgency has ended. So I could theoretically just wait out this insurgency and go in when it's not lawless. But what fun would that be, right?
Warp drive active.
I guess I'm just going to keep thinking that I'm crazy. I got these cool peppermint candies. Oh, all of the Cryodron drones just warped off. I realize I probably shouldn't have that in my mouth if I'm going to be talking a bunch. Yeah. So all the drones that were over here working on it just warped off. That's kind of cool.
Warp drive active.
By the way, PEG does so PEG stands for Power Enhanced Generator, I think is what it's called. You'll sometimes, especially when I'm talking about stuff, when I talk about the gravitational field around your ship, I'll sometimes refer to that as the PEG field, because the idea is that the PEG draws so much power into it that it causes a gravitational like lensing effect, which creates a gravity well, which is the thing that is used to actually propel the ship, and also with enough of it pulls the ship into subspace, which is how you warp.
Warp drive active.
Now, the chances that this site is worth the risk that I'm going through to get to it is like almost impossible. But remember, EVE Online is a game about the practical application of bad ideas. So just because something's a bad idea doesn't mean you shouldn't do it sometimes. You never know. It's the final escalation. It could have... have a scram. That's nervous. It can have an A-type module or a Daredevil BPC. And a mid-grade implant. We already got the one Asclepion. It is the final countdown. We did the entire escalation chain on stream. Like that's worth it, right? That's called counting your chickens before they're hatched, by the way. Me talking like we've already finished it when I'm on my way to the most dangerous part. Maybe I should rein it in a little bit, but, you know, it is what it is. Well, cool. So here we have eyes on us, right? We have still one more jump before we get to the truly lawless area. And he's following me. Or at least, yeah. This system only has one in and one out, so he's probably, he and I are going at least in the same direction. Uh-oh, yeah, well, you know, we'll see. So the next two jumps can have potentially warp disruption bubbles. He's in a Federation Navy Comet, so he himself is not scary to me. It's whatever else he might have as a friend that might make me nervous. But we'll see. Nobody really in this... We've got 5 in local here. So this system's safe, but remember, we're in an area that has bubbles, so we don't want to go gate to gate. So we're just going to go... Let him warp off, maybe? Yep, he's going to warp off. And we're going to warp to our bookmark pounce, so that way we can check to make sure that the gate is good. Could be worth, I mean, like, it could be worth scanning down all of these cosmic signatures. That's not quite far enough. Unfortunate.
Warp drive active.
We could scan down these signatures because we could always find a prismaticite site. That could be cool. We did find a prismaticite site the other day. I got some footage from it too that I can show you after this. But, all right. We're going to descan the Kadama gate. It's fine.
Warp drive.
Yes, those are the ones where you need the anchor. Well, you don't need the anchor, but you can only mine the prismaticite at 10% efficiency without the anchor. That said, there is absolutely rocks worth mining that are not phased, that are just there. Like, it's got some really, really, really juicy rocks, including spodumane, in the site with it. So even if you don't have a phase anchor, they're worth picking apart. All right, we got one criminal in here. This is a fully outlawed system. Or lawless system, I should say. That's not great. All right, well, I don't want to go gate to gate.
Warp drive active.
What does that symbol mean? What does it mean to have a 0 with a slash through it? Oh, he's gone now. Don't mind the spot, it'll give you spot brain. I'm just saying, it's got really good ores in it. Hold on. All right. Where are we? Well, because we're in local by ourselves, we can just warp to 0 now.
Warp drive active.
Tama right now is lawless. Is that true? Bet they're having a field day with that one. Hey, what's up, Redacted? 07. I saw you in rookie chat the other day. I think it was yesterday. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right.
Warp drive active.
Let's go to the site. It's an AO blue star. Hey, look at that. We are doing pretty well. We've just been. I had a random high sec escalation that we've been following. We're now on the fourth and final piece of the escalation, and it made us go all the way to low sec. But here we are. Hopefully it won't be a disaster, but I mean, yeah, it looks fine. So far, it looks fine. We're going to switch to Scorch, just in case.
Warp drive active.
Yeah, Punch, we're still going. Oh, I guess it has been 3 hours. All right, first room. I don't see anything that stands out as super juicy, so we're just going to get to work. It might have almost been worth splitting my guns. I say, and then I don't kill things in one hit. It's pretty funny. What's my ranges? 39. Gotta head out. Hey, yeah, no problem. 07. Oh, I got scrammed. Now it's dead. That was almost scary for a second. Well, I guess it was warp disrupted, not scrammed, but you know what I mean. What are we doing now? We've been doing this angel kickback escalation set, and that has led us all the way now to low sec. We're doing the final piece of the escalation. We got an Asclepian Alpha. I think it was a mid-grade Asclepian Alpha, so it was like 50 million ISK earlier so far. So already it's gotten something. That's not the site. I think I just go in, right? Hold on. I'm double checking on the Eve Uni just to make sure I don't like accidentally go past the important thing. Looks like we're fine. We're going to go for the Shadow Serpentis inside.
Warp drive active.
There he is. I'm going to switch to multi-frequency for better tracking. 17 kilometers, right? Yep. Okay, great. And it's dead. The ethics involved in robbing this hapless band of angels are interesting. Robbing from thieves who stole from drug dealers who stole from their drugs from people who robbed someone to afford them. Yes. You wonder how long it has been since the valuables in your cargo hold were in honest hands. Hey, I'm honest hands. Let's go look at what we got. $50 million ISK, and that's 2.5% of the way towards replacing your... I don't want to talk to you right now. We're not doing this for the ISK. I'm showing it off to other people who may want to do it. Oh boy. Hell yeah. I mean, it's only 70 million, but we got small report, an A-type small remote armor repairer, an A-type frigate micro warp drive, and an A-type EM coating. Thank you, Escalation. I'm sorry, what's in my cargo? Probably should have checked my cargo before doing this. Oh my god. All right, well, new game. Get my shit safe. Well, that makes it more exciting. Well, now I gotta get out of highly lost. I was going to try to go out through Tama, just be like, ha 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 ha. Now I don't want to do that. Now I definitely want to get back to being safe. This is what no, it was not just BPCs, because the problem is that BPCs don't have any value, and my estimated in my cargo hold is 1.4 billion. So hold on. God damn it. Hold on. What is the ISK per hour of not losing all of your ISK? Okay. So I have a Deimos green demon skin. Why? Why do I have this here? And a large cap battery. Okay. Well, cool. Let us figure out how to get out of here. We need to go back there to this location. Let's set destination. Lordy howdy. Okay. Oh, shoot. Hold on. I got it. Somebody. God, this is bad timing. This is bad timing. Hold on. Hold on. I at least want to be cloaked. All right. I will be back in just a second. Oh, my God. Okay. This is a wild ride? Yeah, no kidding. Okay. Kadama. Let's go get a D-scan of the gate. Oh, good timing too, because I just got despawned by Veldspar. Yeah, that's true. My shard pulls last night in raid was sag. Thanks for bringing that up. Okay, so this is safe.
Warp drive active.
Oh boy. I could just activate it, right? God, that looks good. Holy shit, that looks good. I should just activate it. Good thing I switched from the Odyssey. Odysseus. I mean, the Odysseus is still worth more.
Warp drive active.
Golly. How wild. I still got almost 100 million ISK out of this one escalation. That's pretty good, I feel. If I can get it home.
Warp drive active.
So I'm gonna warp to the belt, so that way I'm close enough to the gate, so that way I can descan the gate to make sure there's no bubble on the gate. Ah. What a nightmare. I was so waiting there for there to be a clone tag here, so that way I'd be tempted to kill it. But that's nothing.
Warp drive active.
So I'll probably head home and then wrap things up. And then, like I said, I sincerely want to stream this weekend. Let me know. You know, feel free to encourage me to do so if you want me to. Otherwise, I'll hopefully work on videos or something. I don't know. But we are also going to be doing fleets pretty much all weekend. So if you're interested in flying with us, the Convocation of Empyreans is recruiting. We could use more bodies. We're doing increasingly fun things the more people that we get regularly available. I think we're out of lawless space, so I can just do this now.
Warp drive active.
And also, like I said, I do want to like touch in on frontiers, and a few other things. If I end up doing something with Raid, it'll have to be on the second channel, which I've yet to ever do anything with. So that'd be a good thing to do potentially.
Warp drive active.
There's that same comet. Follow me home. Weird. Weird. There's the police bobs that happen on in corrupted system. What? What do you mean, Punch? Last night, Malak and I opened some shards. But earlier I was saying that I want to make I've been thinking about doing another, like I was saying I'm going to be doing more videos, including potentially this weekend, and then I did warn people that it might involve Raid, which would have to be on a different channel. That's all I was saying. Yeah.
Warp drive active.
No, not only did I pull... So, okay. A little bit of a sigh for all you Eve people that don't like Raid. That's fine. Just tone me out for a second. No. So, I have no legendary orcs. And so I was even just joking the other day that, like, I'll take the orc faction crypt seriously once I get at least one Lego orc. Well, I do actually have 2 Lego orcs, I think, on my main account. Or my free-to-play account. A good one and a not good one. And I pulled the not good one on my main account yesterday. So now I have a legendary orc. Just happened to be the one that I was hoping to not get.
Warp drive active.
But I think I'm still going to be able to work with him. We're almost home. What? I legitimately have no idea why all this stuff ended up in my Legion. I'm sure I was like, there's like some event or something. It was in low sec or something, and I just used this to pull everything out. That's my guess. But I don't see any like expired boosters or anything, which is what I'd normally see. I have no idea how this ended up being this way. I imagine the Republic Fleet large cap battery is part of its fitting. I don't... What even... Where did the green demon skin come from? Let's dock up and find out.
Warp drive active.
See if we can find out. Demos green demon skin. Hey, found it. So, Federation Day in 2021.
Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted.
If you bought 1100 Plex, you got the Deimos skin. That absolutely does not explain why I have it. But okay. At least we know where it came from. Whatever. All right, well, that was an adventure. Yeah, it must have been gifted to me, and I always feel bad about that, because it's like, I'm sure I should remember these things, but... well, the Versus Blue Force skin here also makes me assume that it's like maybe an event or something, but like, yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. But what I do know is that I've been Ashtarothi. I've been playing this game since 2010, talking about it since 2012, and I'm here to put Eve into context for you, my fellow Empyreans. Thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out with me today. We got to check out the Odysseus stuff and did some sightseeing and also did our escalation and whatnot. As I said, I'm going to be streaming probably more than I have been, which is great, and I'm putting out other videos, so make sure to like the videos to get it out to other people, but also subscribe to the channel and also head over to the Discord so that way you get notifications when I go live and put up other videos. And consider joining us in the Convocation of Empyreans, where we maximize player engagement with EVE Online and go do fun stuff in EVE Online, whatever it happens to be. We figure out how to do it. So, yeah. With all that said, I want to give a special shout out to my top supporters, including 745 MPSI, Arydanika the Queen, Bad Boy Smooth, Ebo Elite, Erladis, Elange, Flash Gordon, May, Malak Starfire, Malin, Mercutan, Mayak, Nephilim, LM1, Sheesh, Susuro, and Rid. Thank you all so much. Yeah. But until next time, I've been Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden, and I'll see you in space. Like the stream for the guineas and the puppy.